All right, I believe we are live. What is going on, everybody? This is Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another Xbox 2 podcast.
That was
Well, okay,
Jeff Grubb.
it was Jeff Grubb for sure.
It was Jeff Grubb.
Yeah, that's right. It was.
I just like. Oh, we'll talk about it in a bit, but I just wanted to tease it and post the code name, and then Jeff went and leaked the whole thing. Oh well, but we'll talk about it in a bit. But man, how are you doing? You good? You good, Rand? I'm my sleep cycle is insane right now. I slept from midday till 6 p.m. What the hell is that? What kind of sleep cycle is that?
I don't know.
know.
Mine is not. My sleep schedule is also not on. I think we're getting some errors here. Stream is not doing good.
Dream errors. Oh
Yeah,
no.
like right away off the rip, it says it's not doing good. I don't know.
What does that mean? Not doing good.
It's detecting a lot of drop frames on OBS's side.
It's still live.
Yeah, I know,
see
but I don't know if it's buffering for people. Because YouTube is telling me
Still
that
buffering.
it's poor right now. So I don't know. How does this all look in the chat, people? It's skipping.
they say.
Yeah.
Stream okay now, was bad. Oh, it's good at the moment. People say it's. People say it's okay. Should we start over?
Sure. Let's pretend that didn't happen, shall we?
Let's pretend that didn't happen.
Let's pretend that didn't happen. So
Yeah, I'll edit that out. Rand, how are you doing?
I'm doing good,
pal?
buddy. It's definitely been a week, hasn't it?
It's been a week. I am exhausted. I've done a million podcasts. I've got a preview of a game coming next week that I can't talk about. I've also reviewing Dying Light, and it just feels like the news is non-stop, and I'm exhausted, and I'm ready for bed. I am ready to just sleep. Like, you know, I said this on another podcast this week. January is usually quiet, Rand. January is usually a quiet month for Xbox news. And it's usually a month where I can chill and take a little break. But no, Rand. The gaming gods have said that no, there's going to be non-stop news. So
It definitely has been nonstop news. There's like so much going on in the video game industry, even outside of what Xbox is doing with Activision Blizzard and all the other things that are leaking and everything that's kind of been announced. It's definitely. I thought it was going to be a low month, and it's funny. My sleep schedule has, and I blame Lord Cognito for this. So if I know he listens, and he did that amazing Avengers level crossover on Sunday, which you were a part of. You were able to sneak in there for a little bit on the Iron Lords podcast.
yeah,
And
that was
during
an
this
amazing show.
6.5 hours, Jez. You imagine doing 6.5 hours?
Yeah, Cog's a machine, man. But I said it before and I say it again. He's one of the best in the biz. One of the best in the biz, and he's got great things coming.
Yes.
It shocks me that Iron Lords only has 10,000 subscribers or just over, because Iron Lords podcast is one of the best out there. And if you guys aren't subscribed to the Iron Lords podcast, you definitely should be. But Rand, before we get into topics, I got to talk about something.
What do you got to talk about?
I got to talk about something important.
You got to talk about balls? You going to talk about hair? Talk about shaving? Is that what you're going to talk about?
I've got to talk about balls. Manscaped balls. Rand, did you know with the checkout code XB2, that's XB and the number 2, you can get 20% off everything at manscaped.com, who are once again sponsoring this video. Manscaped.com. They sell everything from beard trimmers, ball shavers, the Lawnmower 4.0 with new super duper and extra smoothness technology, all sorts of other products, amazing boxes. And dude, you can get 20% off and free shipping with the code XB2. And thanks once again to Manscaped for sponsoring this video.
So what's your favorite product from Manscaped?
my favorite product, Rand, is the boxes. Like, honestly, like I've used all the products they've sent me. They've sent me ball toner, the ball deodorant, the shaver. I used it. I wanted to make sure that we were recommending a solid product, and I have to say, it is indeed a great product. But I have to say, like, the boxes are good because, as you know, Rand, I've been losing weight. I've lost over 100 pounds.
Congratulations!
And thank you very much. And in fact, it was you originally who inspired me to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, when back in the day when you were on your own weight loss journey. So I needed to buy an entire new set of boxes, Rand, because unfortunately, I no longer fit in any of the boxes. So,
well, that's a good thing.
All of my, it's a good problem to have. But now all of my boxes are Manscaped boxes, all of them. So, and they're really, really good. So, yeah, guys, if you want to support the show, if you need any cool products, Valentine's Day is coming up. You treat yourself and your significant other to some excellent products, men's grooming products, manscaped.com. With checkout code XB2, 20% off and free shipping. And thanks once again to Manscaped for sponsoring this video.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the ad read. That is the ad read.
We do have a couple super chats I want to get to. Achievement says, "Be Rand unsafe 19." I'm definitely very unsafe. And our buddy Sin Vendetta Jez says, "Hey Rand, thanks for coming by the stream yesterday, supporting your boy Jez, and coming to slander our beloved Dark Souls." That's right. I stopped by Jez's his Tea and Violence stream that he's been doing Dark Souls, and we just had a nice little pre-Xbox 2 chat. I guess you would call it, right? Pre-Xbox 2. And just kind of shot the shit. And I made fun of Dark Souls while Jez was playing Dark Souls. So
very mean. Very, very mean indeed.
Yes.
It upset me greatly.
But it was a fun time. And here we are, Xbox 2, and it's been a week, Jez, because last week we killed ourselves. Right? I made 4 videos last week, which I can't even remember the last time I made 4 videos in a week. But last week deserved it. Like, so much news. We did a podcast Tuesday, emergency podcast. Have we ever done an emergency podcast before? I don't think we did one for Bethesda, did we?
I don't think so. No, we didn't. We didn't. But
I don't think we did.
This really deserved it.
Yeah, this one was like, whoa, right? And that Tuesday it was like Lord Cognito had called me at like 7:30 a.m. and I just went to bed at like 4:30. So I wake up, I'm still tired. I see the news. I'm like, what? So I got to wake up. I got to make a video, which takes 2 to 3 hours. And then it was like, okay, now I got a podcast with Jez. And then it was like, okay, now I got a podcast with Dealer and the guys over at RDX. And then, like, I was exhausted. I basically slept all day Wednesday. And then Friday came along, and I did Xbox 2 with you. And then I did another show, Press Start. And then Saturday, I did another podcast, Spawncast. And it was just like, what the hell? This week has just been... But, like, my sleep schedule, because of that Tuesday, is so screwed up. Like, I'm basically in bed now at, like, 8 o'clock. Because, like...
PM or AM?
Like PM, like, because what happens is, like, when I slept all day Wednesday because I was so exhausted, is that, like, I had woke up at like 3 a.m. and, like, I just kind of stayed up, and then by the time like 8 p.m. rolled around, I was tired, so I went to bed, and it's kind of been like that ever since. So now I got to fix my sleep schedule in the reverse, because normally I usually sleep too late. Now I'm getting up. I'm waking up at like 2 a.m. and I'm up, and then all of a sudden like 7 o'clock rolls around and I'm like, I'm tired and I want to go to bed. So yeah, I got to fix that. But it's also been another big week of podcasts because you did midweek mix up on Wednesday and Defining Duke. So we did Defining Duke with Lord Cognito and Mr. Matty Plays, and that'll be free, I believe, because they do Patreon. It's up now for Patreons, but I believe it'll be free for everybody to listen to on Sunday.
Yes.
We're doing the show today. And then tomorrow we're doing Xbox 4 with Xbox Era, Special Nick and John. So
true.
Yeah, a lot of podcasts going on. A lot of podcasts. So Yeah. RDX Son of Fet in the super chat says Halo Ring is now canon in Star Wars. I think that's a Mandalorian thing or Boba Fett thing. I haven't watched it yet, so I don't. Maybe you just spoiled me, right? Flame says Jez's appearance on the Iron Lords podcast was legendary. His line, "I don't care about capitalism," was glorious. Have a great show, fellas. Did you was that your? Because I thought the big line from you was just like, we just need to take Bobby Kotick and shoot him out of a cannon. I thought that was your line.
Well, I said we can't take him and shoot him out of a cannon with regret. But yeah, it was I got a bit heated, got a bit passionate, you know me, Rand, me and the passion. So, but yeah.
Marquis says, I swear you guys hinted the acquisition a few months ago. Tell me I'm lying. Me and Jez had no clue about the Activision thing. Like,
no.
Sure, I could come out here and be like, yeah, guys, I knew. Give me some insider credit. I've always claimed I'm not an insider. I just hear some things from time to time from people who know. But all me and Jez had heard, and if you go back and listen to the podcast right before the acquisition went down, we were talking about acquisitions, and we said, hey, guys, maybe the next acquisition might not be sexy because it might be mobile related. Because me and Jez were hearing that Xbox was going to make a splash in the mobile space. And I know I wouldn't care, Jez wouldn't care, our chat wouldn't care. So we were sort of kind of trying to prepare our chat for the idea of Microsoft's next acquisition to be mobile related, and everybody to kind of be disappointed. And, well, alongside that mobile acquisition also came Activision Blizzard, so, I mean, but I know nothing about it. Absolutely nothing. I was blindsided. This just goes to show you, these big deals like this, like, nobody knew about it for a reason, because it's basically like, hidden. It would be illegal for them to talk about it to anybody else, because that would be insider trading. Like, if you knew that Microsoft was on the verge to buy Activision, you could buy Activision stock, essentially, to make money, or sell stock in whatever case, right? And that's highly illegal. So that sort of stuff it doesn't happen. It might happen with smaller things. Like, I remember the Playground acquisition leaked because it was on like a government website or whatever. But for the most part, acquisitions, they don't really leak in advance. Like, you hear stories about Microsoft talking to companies, but normally that stuff doesn't leak out too far in advance, right, Jez?
Yeah, it doesn't. I heard about Bethesda, I think, because it was a little bit less secretive, because they're not a publicly traded company. So it's not like I would have been able to go and buy a bunch of Bethesda stock, because they're privately traded, sorry. But Activision is different, because they're a publicly traded company. You can get like in a lot of trouble if you try to manipulate the share price and all that gubbins. So yeah, I had no idea. All I'd heard is that they were going to make a mobile play, which you could argue this is a mobile play, but it's not why we're interested in it, right? Oh man, what a week.
Yeah. What a week. My good buddy Fonzarelli Gaming says, shout out to you two. Shout out to you, Fonz. Thanks for being here, buddy. Thanks for the support.
Yeah,
and,
thanks,
Fonz. Fonz has an amazing show he puts on Sundays after ILP. Games Talk Live, which I've been on a couple times. You need to be on Games Talk Live with Fonz, Jez. It's a good show.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. I have talked to Fonz about it, and I do want to get on. I do want to get on more podcasts and stuff. It's
Plus,
just, man,
Fonz is in and out, bro. Like, we love Defining Duke and Maddie and Cog, but that was like 4 hours long, right? And it kind of gets long in the tooth. Fonz is like an hour, and you're in and you're done. It's just an hour long, So.
Oh, that's ideal.
It's very.
I wish
ideal.
more podcasts were like that. Why isn't our podcast like that, Rand? We could do like an hour, and done.
People love. If we did an hour show, people would riot in the streets. People would definitely riot in the streets. Wolf Assassin says, how much money in super chats do we have to give you guys to live stream Elden Ring on the Xbox 2 podcast on launch day, since that day is a Friday?
I will definitely be live streaming it. I'll probably live stream it before we actually go live. So if you follow me on YouTube, maybe Ray and Rand will stream it there. Unless you want to stream it on this channel, Rand, I don't mind.
I mean, I don't even know if I'm gonna play it, to be honest with you. I still haven't decided. I still haven't decided.
Dude, Game of the Year, you said yourself.
I mean,
Game of the Year.
I can project what I think will be voted for Game of the Year. Not that it would be my Game of the Year, So, yeah. RDX Sunfed says, Mini Fridge never came to Canada like they said. I guess that's unfortunate. Maybe it'll come sometime this year. Travis.
Yeah, I imagine it will come. It's just a matter of like distribution. Like putting products out there is complicated. So I do think they'll get into Canada eventually. You just have to hang tight a bit.
Travis says, what do you guys think of an Elite Series 3 controller with built-in Wi-Fi like Stadia or Luna controllers for use with Xbox Cloud Play? Now that's interesting because I think they're definitely gonna. We've talked sort of about an Elite Series 3, right? And we're of a different opinion here. I think a good thing to add for Elite Series 3 would be haptic feedback, right? Because like, what are you going to add to the Elite Series 2 to make people want to spend $150 or $200 again? But you're of the opinion like, no, you can't really do haptic feedback because what games are going to support it, especially if regular controllers don't have it, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But what about this? What about an Elite Series 3 controller that has built-in Wi-Fi that you can use for cloud play? Is that something that they could add on? Would that be enough of an addition to get people to spend money? It seems like a small play, but it definitely seems like I could see that like being something at some point because cloud is only going to get bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the issues with the cloud right now is that a lot of the accessories are Bluetooth, and when you're using Bluetooth, you add in like a crap ton of latency needlessly, because Bluetooth is this horrible but necessary protocol that is laggy, but it's really sort of cross-platform compliant, and it's low energy and whatever. But it sucks for gaming because it adds like all this lag and stuff like that. So one of the advantages Luna and Stadia have is that their controllers have Wi-Fi in them. So I do think there's a future where we do get a Wi-Fi based Xbox accessory, but I think they're just going to go full blown make a handheld round. I really do. And I think like whatever this handheld is, maybe you'll be able to use that as the controller when you're playing on the TV. I think Microsoft's definitely going to explore some of this stuff, but it might not be exactly the same way that Stadia and Luna does it. We'll just have to wait and see. But I do think we are going to get a handheld from Xbox eventually in some form.
Ooh, a handheld? Like an actual proper handheld?
Yeah, I do. Well, like cloud-based handheld.
Do you know this? Or do you just
I don't know
speculate
this.
it? So there's going to be...
I know they've been prototyping it, but they prototype a lot of things. So, like, I don't know if it's a product yet. They prototype a lot of things, but I know they've been prototyping handhelds. Will it actually become a product? I don't know that yet, but I believe it will.
You know, normally I can tell what sort of things will get made into articles from this podcast, and I think last podcast you mentioned the stuff about Apple poaching engineers from Xbox to make a console.
Yes.
And I said, someone is going to listen to this, someone's going to write an article, and sure enough, someone did. But it actually spread a lot farther than I thought, because a big YouTuber covered it and gave us credit, right? He even gave me credit.
Wow, he even gave you credit.
Well, because I'm friends with him. I've done his podcast before.
All right.
But you know who covered it and didn't give us any credit at all? Not even you. Not even Jez Corden's Xbox 2 podcast.
Who's that?
GameSpot.
Wow.
Gave no credit whatsoever at all.
Well, actually, they did. It's if you look at the very bottom, it says via Xbox 2, and you can barely see it, but there was no link.
Wow.
And there was no context. So yeah, that's pretty lame of them. But
unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh well. What are you gonna do, eh?
Yeah, Brett says, who's buying Sega? Jez and Rand, there's a rumor that just came out that Sega's not looking for a buyer since they just sold the arcade business. That's actually a topic, because I kind of had this in here just to kind of speculate. And you brought it up, so let's speculate now, Jez. Did you see the news that Sega basically ditched their arcade business finally?
I did see that.
Potentially making themselves more enticing to an acquisition? Because that was the thing, like... If Xbox or PlayStation were interested in Sega, they have this arcade business that neither of them would be interested in, right?
Yes.
But now that there's no arcade business, so, you know, Xbox just bought Activision Blizzard. I'm of the opinion that they're going to be that Xbox and Microsoft are going to go into turtle mode. Essentially, they're not going to talk to anybody. They're not going to make any acquisitions because they don't want to rock the boat. And I think maybe potentially it would look bad. Because you already have people talking about antitrust and monopoly with all this stuff, right? So it would look bad if suddenly 5 months later, Xbox buys Sega, right? Because then people will be like, well, wait, we can't allow this. But then, of course, there's PlayStation and, PlayStation, Sony. Like, there is that sort of... It is supposed to be harder for an American company to buy a Japanese company, but PlayStation is a Japanese company, so it's certainly possible. We've talked about maybe Sony's response to Activision Blizzard. Is Sega a target now? Like, what do you think's going on with all this, Jez?
I honestly think all the big publishers are targets right now, whether it's EA, Take-Two, whatever. I think they're all targets. And I think Sony's looking at this. I think Tencent's looking at this. I think maybe even Amazon's looking at this. I don't think Google's looking at this. I think Google has seen some of this, the money that's needed to do this. And I think Google's just thought, you know what? Screw this. We're not getting involved in this shit. So I think Google's out. I think you can count Google out. I think the Bethesda acquisition alone saw off Google. But like when you factor in Activision as well, it's like nah. When Microsoft bought Bethesda, Google literally just noped out of it. They were just like, nope, we're done, we're gone. That's it, we're done. So, but I think there's still a potential that Amazon could get more involved, because there's a big cloud play here. There's a big cloud play. And Amazon is like, they're afraid of Microsoft's cloud, really afraid. Microsoft's cloud's very gradually catching up to Amazon Web Services all the time. And I think there will be I think they are projected to overtake Amazon Web Services eventually. So, and also because of the whole cloud thing, there's also like engines involved. Microsoft now owns a bunch of engines. They own id Software's engine. They'll own Blizzard's engine. Blizzard's making a new engine as well. So I do think because Amazon has its own engine. What's it called? Lumberyard. I want to say they use Lumberyard to make New World and some other games, but barely anyone else uses Lumberyard because it's not that good. But So Amazon would be like, man, Microsoft's really trying to build up their cloud services, and Microsoft's like won a load of big partners recently for cloud stuff. Like obviously they got Minecraft on Azure, but they've also got like all of Ubisoft games on Azure now, I think, and a bunch of other games. So I think Amazon could make a play for one of these big publishers, but it's like Phil said. Phil said in an interview, right, Rand? He said that a lot of these tech companies, they just don't get gaming. And they'll buy some of these companies like Sega, and they'll ruin them. They'll ruin them because they don't get gaming, and they'll be telling their companies like, make games, please. Yeah, and like we can see Amazon's incompetence with New World, which is a total fail game. I apologize if there's anyone who's a New World fan, but you can't deny that game was overhyped to hell. It was pushed artificially via Twitch streamers and then basically disappeared off the face of the earth. No one cares about New World anymore. It's basically a dead game. And that's a testament to Amazon's lack of knowledge of the industry. They threw a bunch of money at this game, like 300 million. And it was completely the wrong kind of game for them to make, to try and to break into the industry. So I think the real threat there is Amazon's incompetence, or Tencent buying up all these companies and then making their own platform, right? I've upset Fonzarelli. Sorry, man. Sorry, man. I hope the game does well. Like I don't want any game to fail. Like even if Amazon owns them, but like, it is what it is. I think it was a mistake for Amazon to try and make something so ambitious as their first game, because now it's sort of cast a sort of shadow over the rest of the stuff they're going to try and do. But I don't know. But I agree with you that we're going to see Xbox go into turtle mode. They're not going to buy anything. Turtle mode is a really good way of saying it. Mm-hmm. They're not going to try and buy anything else. They're going to be focused entirely. All of their efforts are going to be focused entirely on getting this deal done. And until then, I don't think we even need to really talk about acquisitions, because this is the only acquisition that matters now, and this is the only one that they'll be talking about for the foreseeable future, I think.
So yeah, do you agree with me? There's going to be no possibility that we wake up one day in the future and they have acquired Sega while they're still in the process of acquiring Activision Blizzard, right?
I think there's always a small possibility of them picking up smaller studios. Microsoft acquires things non-stop. You know, they purchased Nuance for $20 billion. They purchased GitHub. They purchased LinkedIn. Microsoft's growing a huge platform. So, like, it's not like they're going to stop acquisitions completely while this goes through. But it is politically sensitive right now because the Democratic government want to regulate big tech, and they're nervous about some of these companies getting too big. But I think that ship is very firmly sailed. I don't think Microsoft's already very, very big. You know, we're in a world now where like companies are playing with trillions of dollars, not billions. So I think Apple's like going to be the first $3 trillion company or something projected to be. I don't know. You got Elon Musk out here saying like his robots are going to be bigger than his cars at some point. Like, how do you stop these companies? You can't in this economic system. You just can't do it. So we might as well just join for the ride. Get along for the ride, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So who else they buy? You know, maybe they'll start buying countries next. I wouldn't mind Microsoft living in the United Kingdom of Microsoft. Would you, Rand? Do you want to live in the United Kingdom of Microsoft?
The United Kingdom of Microsoft? Who's the leader?
Yeah. I don't know. Satya Nadella would be the president of United Kingdom, or the prime minister, and Phil would be like, I don't know, the chancellor of the exchequer or something, because he's, you know, a big spender. You know, Phil Spender.
Phil Spender, indeed.
Phil Spender, as we call him now. So.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know. I mean, Sony's investor meeting is next month. I think their investors are going to pressure Sony into doing something because they might be a little bit worried about what's going on with Call of Duty, because that is such a big franchise and it makes PlayStation a lot of money. And, I mean, you can talk about, well, maybe Phil can somehow finagle Game Pass on PlayStation in the next couple years, but their investors are going to be looking at their sliding stock price, which is still sliding down. I don't know if you've seen, Jez. The Sony stock price is still kind of... Yeah, take a look at it while we're talking right now. If you can. It's still kind of going down. So they might be like, you know what? You talk a good game with this organic growth. Like, we were behind you with Housemarque and Bluepoint and Fire Sprite and all these other developers, but it's time to make a splash now. Because if Microsoft is making these moves, who knows what happens next year when Activision Blizzard closes? Microsoft then go pursue another publisher? And as PlayStation, we got to protect our business. So if Sega's available now, do Sony make the move on it? You know, it's certainly possible. Although I think Square Enix is a little bit more likely. But it's going to be interesting. It's definitely... A lot of things are going to happen for this. That's why, like, I think we said in the podcast and I said in my videos, the gaming industry is going to be changed forever by this. Forever.
Yeah. So,
Brett says, Jez, it's time for EA and Bandai Namco. We need that Titanfall-style Gundam game. So that's who Brett wants. EA and Bandai Namco.
I think I want Bandai Namco as well now. I've changed from Capcom to Bandai Namco.
Really?
Yeah.
RDX Son of Fed says, haptic feedback is dumb. I'd never use it. Yeah, but there's a lot of features in a lot of the controllers that they sell that most people never use. It's just about, like, what is something big enough that they can put in the controller to sell you an Elite again for $150, right? They have to have something new. What are they going to say for this one? We promise, we pinky swear it's not going to break apart in a year? You know? Because the build quality on those Elites can be a little hit or miss sometimes, right?
That is true.
Soski says, I would love a native handheld from Xbox, or should I just stick with my Steam Deck pre-order? I would probably stick with your Steam Deck pre-order, because who knows if a native Xbox handheld ever comes out, right? We have no clue. Jez has heard about prototypes. I'm sure Xbox has been prototyping stuff, but I mean, you never know. They might feel like it's not worth it or something, like things happen. But yeah, I mean, the Steam Deck looks really nice, especially if you're into like PC gaming. If you buy a lot of games on Steam, that would that would be very good. I think get the Steam Deck and have all your games on the go. I think that would be smart. Yeah. I don't have anything on Steam, so there's no reason for me to get a Steam Deck, and I'm not a mobile gamer anyways.
You don't have anything on Steam at all?
I think I own Among Us on Steam. That's it.
That's free to play.
No, I think on PC it was like $5 or something. That's like
I've got hundreds of games on Steam. I'm one of these guys who sees a game on sale for $5 and like, oh, I'll buy that, and then never play it. Oh man. Yeah. I suppose you don't like strategy games, right?
No, I don't.
If you're a strategy game fan, you have to buy them on Steam. Like I tried playing Stellaris with a controller. Oh my god, it's not fun. It's not a good experience.
Punkadish, who's been a member for 11 months, says he can't listen live today, but have a good one, fellas. I hope you have a great day, Punk, and we're sorry you can't listen live today, but there's always next week. So have a good rest of the day, buddy. George says, why not Series S in handheld form? I'll buy it, to be honest. Series S in handheld form.
Series S in handheld form. Yeah, I often wonder about this. Like, how small could the Series S get, realistically? I mean, the fact that it's cheap is like they've got like a sort of a cheaper heating system in it, like for cooling. So like if it was a bit more expensive, could they get something more heavy duty in and make it smaller? Could the Series S? Do you remember how small the PS2 got?
Yes, I do remember how small the PS2 got. Uh-huh.
The PS2 got tiny. Like you could almost put it in your pocket. There would probably Nokia phones that were bigger than the PS2. The last version of the PS2. So I do wonder about that. Could they eventually get the Series S like power into a handheld? I think that's interesting to think about. But the problem with that is like Nvidia seems to have like the monopoly on small, energy efficient graphics processing. Like AMD's like laptop level graphics processors are not as good as Nvidia's. So maybe the bottleneck is AMD there. But I don't know. It's interesting to think about, right?
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting, and it kind of would be crazy for the Series S to get any smaller than it currently is right now, because there's a small boy, right?
It's a small boy.
As we think about mid-gen refreshes, because I do think there will be one. It's like you can imagine the Series X getting smaller, but is the Series S going to get any smaller? It's already pretty small, so
it's pretty damn small.
Shout out to Andy Hart for becoming the newest member of the channel. Thank you. Enjoy all the emotes. And Wolf Assassin, who's been a member for 8 months, says, Xbox Global Publishing has so many unannounced games, there's no way they have any more in the pipeline. Right, guys? Cough. Capcom does Scalebound. Cough. Scalebound. Interesting. That game always continues to come up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Scalebound's never coming back.
People want it to come back, though.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people saw the Monster Hunter thing, and they were... the certain Affinity game, which we're going to talk about in a bit. They saw that and they thought, "Ooh, that might be Scalebound." It's not. It's not Scalebound. I promise you, it's not Scalebound.
So what is it with Scalebound that people have this attachment to it, where it's like, can it come back? Because that Phantom Dust game was canceled, right? Fable Legends was canceled. Scalebound was canceled, but you don't see people. I mean, outside of maybe like Mazdan PA talking about the Phantom Dust game that was canceled, right? And some people talking about Fable Legends. You don't really see a lot of people talking about those two, but there's this kind of, I don't know, there's this like
following
about like Scalebound, where people are like, oh man, I really wish this game came out. I really wish they bring it back. Like, what makes Scalebound so different from the other two?
I think Scalebound it kind of looked cool, didn't it?
Yeah,
Platinum's known for Platinum's known for really great combat. So I think like because they released Nier Automata, and it was really popular, and the combat was really good, and it became like it's not the biggest game in the world, but it has like it's a bit of a masterpiece. If I'm honest, like it's a landmark game, Nier Automata, automata, however you want to pronounce it. How do you pronounce it, Rand? Automata or automata?
I don't know, because I usually say words wrong and people make fun of me in the chat. I've always called it Near Automata or whatever.
Automata.
I don't know.
Near Automata, guys.
Near you know. So I don't know. My buddy Gopher would know. Near Automata is how I would say it. It's a great game. I love Near. See, I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it wrong. I pronounce it one way one time and one way another time. So.
Yeah, Near Automata.
Automata. I don't know. Who knows?
Automata. Automata, guys. But anyway, I think because of that, they were like, man, it could have been a really cool game. And, you know, there isn't a lot of Japanese games on Xbox that are sort of exclusive. Maybe it calls back to that whole... Well, actually, you could have made that argument about Phantom Dust, but I think, like, as well, the fact that Platinum Games was tied to the project, and it was sort of like Monster Hunter-ish, and maybe a bit Pokemon-ish even. You could customize your dragon. How to Train Your Dragon in game form by Platinum. I think that's a pretty cool premise, but yeah, I don't know. It's never coming back, I don't think. But who knows, man? Crazy things have happened. Microsoft bought Blizzard.
I know, right? I know. Jeremy says, someone buys EA. Do the sports games get forced to multiple platforms by the leagues like MLB The Show? Presumably. I would imagine if Microsoft or EA were to buy, or Microsoft or Sony or Google or whatever would buy EA, I would imagine Madden is contractually obligated to be multi-platform, right?
Yeah,
and same thing
with
FIFA.
Sports are supposed to be. Yeah, sports are supposed to be for everyone, and these sports games, they're marketing really for the sports. They're not meant to be good games. I mean, look at FIFA. FIFA has been the same game every year, year in, year out, for a million years. People buy it every year because it's tied to the sport they love, not because it's a great game every year. I mean, it's a decent game, but it's not like it needs to come out every year. So that's marketing, and yeah, I think those would stay multi-platform, just like I think Call of Duty would stay multi-platform.
You're still wrong about this.
It's an institution, Rand, and Phil's a nice guy.
Yes, the Phil is a nice guy. We were on Defining Duke and talking about the Call of Duty stuff, which, as you all know, there is a split in the Xbox too. You know, we were together about Bethesda from the very beginning. You know, it was just like, we think they're going to be exclusive. I got your back, Jez. Jez has my back, right? our thought process was basically the same, you know? But it's not the same for Activision Blizzard, guys. And Jez is just... He thinks Phil's such a nice guy that he's going to Minecraft Call of Duty. Yeah, and just rake in the money. He wants to, you know, like basically have Microsoft be the good guy, right? Like they're doing this for the culture, right? They're not doing this because of their desire to dominate gaming. They're doing it for the culture, to help Activision Blizzard become amazing again. And we're just going to leave Call of Duty everywhere because that's what's good for gaming. That's what Jez thinks, right?
Yes.
And you got dragged in chat. Chat was not, they were definitely not agreeing with that opinion. They want Call of Duty to remain exclusive, right? I'm of the opinion, you know, of the opinion that Warzone's going to remain on PlayStation. They'll rake in a lot of microtransactions and cosmetic DLC and all that stuff. And then premium Call of Duties will be Xbox only, day one in Game Pass. But you know what though? Jez did admit he's kind of coming around to my way of thinking though, so...
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sticking to that though. I can see it going either way. Like I don't think I'm 100% right, but I just feel it in my guts that I feel it in my Manscaped shaved balls.
Code XP2.
Code XP2. That will stay multi-platform. I feel it, man. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
before,
who wants Jez to be right or wrong about this? You know, I'm gonna make a poll. Do you want? Let's see. Do you want Jez to be wrong? Right? Question mark! Exclamation point. Hell yeah, will be an answer. Because you know we want Jez to be wrong. And no is an answer. So let's see what the community it wants here, Jez. Let's see what they think. Did they want you to be wrong?
Oh man.
So make sure you go vote. Let's see. Do you guys want Jez to be wrong? Let's see what the votes come in. I don't know how to say this. Sakrik, or I don't even know. SAQRKH. I don't even know how to say that. Thank you for Super Chat. He says, buying Activision would also give Microsoft cloud expertise that others can't get. Gives Microsoft leverage with Sega, Square, etc. if they want in on the cloud. Interesting. Cloud's a very important part of Xbox's future. Brett says Amazon Gaming is doo-doo. Yeah, well, a lot of people would agree with you. Andy says, good evening, Rand and Jez in chat. Rand, did you ever play Max Payne 3? Personally, could be Rockstar's greatest game ever. Brilliant story. Yes, I love Max Payne 3. It's one of my favorite games from the 360 generation. And it sucks that we never got a Max Payne 4. That game is absolutely incredible. Love Max Payne 3. Austin says, inflation right now means Microsoft cash reserves are literally losing value every day. Assets are king. This all cash Activision Blizzard acquisition is really smart. Yeah, that's the other thing people need to realize is that with inflation, Microsoft has how much money they have in the bank? 130 billion, something like that. Liquid
something
assets.
like that, yeah.
With inflation, that money basically is going to devalue. And that's why you didn't really see a lot of investor concern. That's why in Microsoft's financial quarterly report, in their talks, nobody even asked a question about it. Because Microsoft views it as, okay, the money's sitting there doing nothing, so we're going to take this money and we're going to turn it into assets. And the assets were Activision, Blizzard, and King. So, I mean, it's incredibly smart when you think about it. They get a deal on Activision Blizzard because of all the stock stuff that happened, right? You get Call of Duty, the most popular game. You get Blizzard for their PC push, and you get King for the mobile presence. So you turned what essentially would be $70 billion, literally burning a hole in your pocket. Literally burning a hole in your pocket, and you turn it into assets for the future. And sure, people were like, well, how are they going to make this money back? That's a lot of money. Like, they didn't buy this so, for 1 to 2 years from now. They bought this for the 10 to 20 year out plan, right? Because it's going to take a while to turn Blizzard around to get them back up to what they used to be 10 years ago, right, Jez? When they were the dominant force of PC gaming. Just like it took Phil a long time to turn around Xbox. Let's not like the whole turnaround for Xbox wasn't overnight, right? I mean, it was like a steady thing when Phil took over in 2014. He didn't really get the power until Xbox division was moved out from under Terry Myerson. He was promoted to executive leadership team. And even then, it still took time to acquire the studios that they needed, and those teams needed time to kind of finish off their contracts and start working on new games for Xbox. All this stuff takes time. So the Blizzard stuff's going to take time to turn them around. Like, it's just better for them, or better for the investors, to turn $70 billion, which would have been losing value, into assets that you can leverage to help make you even more money, 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now. And when you look at their financial report, they made $15 billion last quarter. So by the time this deal goes through in 12 to 18 months, they'll have made the money essentially for it, and they'll have the same amount of money in their bank that they did when they did the deal. So Microsoft just makes crazy money, right?
Yep. They make that bank, that Skrilla, as we say in Blighty, which is also another word for Britain that not many people use. But man, it's just crazy times out there. There's so many facets to this. The fact that we're still talking about it 2 podcasts later it's kind of a testament to how much of a big deal this is. So
yeah. Marcus says, do you think Xbox was in talks to acquire another company pre-Activision Blizzard? What are the chances they get an IO or Crystal Dynamics by year's end? Well, it's like me and Jez always say, they're always in talks with other companies. Always. Right?
Yeah.
Crystal Dynamics, I think I've said, I think that ends with them acquiring them, but I think Perfect Dark has to be finished. IO Interactive, like you mentioned, Jez, that there's a lot of games that Xbox is working with or studios that Xbox are working with, making games for global publishing that essentially could be tryouts for acquisition. IO
Yeah,
Interactive,
I think so.
Avalanche, Crystal Dynamics, Stoic,
Stoic.
Oxide. Now certain Affinity, right? So,
Yes.
although okay, I'm gonna ask you this because this kind of goes off his thing. We both agree that Xbox won't buy a publisher between now and when the deal closes. But would it be that big of a deal if they did acquire, say, Crystal Dynamics? Because like a single developer, I don't think raises much issue, does it? But or do you
Yeah,
still agree that they're going to be in turtle mode?
I think they would probably buy Crystal Dynamics or IO in a defensive posture, like if Tencent was sniffing around. Um, Possibly, but Activision Blizzard is the sort of be all and end all. So like if there's even a hint that that deal could be impacted by them messing around buying other studios, then they're not going to do it. Um, but Microsoft knows better than anyone here. They A lot of this is political. A lot of this is political clout and stuff like that. There's a reason America is basically run on political donations. It's because of stuff like this. Um, and Microsoft knows how to play that game. They know it very, very well. Maybe better than any tech company. Microsoft knows how to do the Washington PR blitz. They know they've got lawyers who specialize in Washington and the Congress and all that stuff. So they definitely know better than anyone here. So
That's
just
true.
have to wait and see, baby.
Edward King says, isn't Sega the most logical to buy? Microsoft have almost every genre covered now. Yakuza, Persona, and Sonic will help them push into Asian markets. I mean, that's the argument people make. You look at Activision, you see what they give you. Bethesda, you see what they give you. You look at Sega, and it's like Japanese for the push into that market. They also have a lot of PC-focused developers like Relic,
Reddit.
like Relic, and who's the other PC developer they got? Creative Assembly, right?
Yeah.
Which Jez, I was thinking, if Sony did buy Sega, well, there goes Relic and Creative Assembly to do any sort of RTSs in the future, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Relic's a risky thing because like Age 4 needs updates. It needs updates and it needs content to keep people interested. And Microsoft has to rely on Relic, and Relic are working on other games too. They've got like the whole Total War game, which I think they're supporting or developing outright. I can't remember which, but I know they're involved in it. So Microsoft doesn't have full control of that studio and can't just be like, well, just focus on Age for now, because they've got other commitments to be doing, which affects the dev time on Age of Empires 4. So it's complicated, man. I don't envy what the amount of pressure that Phil and the team must be under right now. They're doing something unprecedented. No gaming company's ever been this large. Really, it's they're going to be a huge company, like massive, with like so many different teams, so many creators and devs and procedures overlapping and all this complexity. Like it's unreal the amount of complexity going into this. So I just want to shout out the people that are dealing with all this, because I know for a fact I couldn't do it.
yeah, that's true. You can barely deal with Dark Souls.
Wow, that's mean. What are you talking about? I'm a Dark Souls pro, man.
Yeah. When are you gonna start Dark Souls 2, or are you gonna wait for Elden Ring to come out first?
Well, I've nearly finished Dark Souls 1. I've got the last boss of the DLC to do, and then the last boss to do. I've got an optional boss here and there I might do as well, maybe. I don't know. So I kind of don't want it to end. I've had such a blast with Dark Souls Remastered. I think it might be my top 3 games of all time now. Might have knocked out Mass Effect out of the top 3.
That blasphemy right there. What?
I knew you were going to say that. But I just love it, man. I love it. It's so perfect for me. I don't know how else to put it. But I don't know. We'll have to see, because I've got to play Dying Light. I still have a 500-hour long game. Nah, it's not 500 hours, but it's a big game, and I haven't really got that far through the story yet. I think I'm about halfway through the story or something like that at this point. So I got to play that some more. But I do intend to play all the Dark Souls and Sekiro, and yeah, that is the plan. That is the plan.
RDX says Sony owes too much money to buy anyone. They could easily take on debt to get a loan to buy somebody if they. I guess it depends on who though, but yeah, I mean Sony does have a lot of debt. I think they have $2 trillion in debt. Jez, I believe is the number.
2 trillion yen. So
yeah, whatever it is.
I can't off the top of my head. I don't know how much the yen converts into billions. It's a few billion.
Yeah,
it's a few billion.
They have some debt, but they can easily raise capital. It's not an issue. I don't think that's an issue. Tommy says, I feel like the acquisition means good news for Guitar Hero. Any news on that or Rock Band? I know I'm probably the only one who cares about this. I mean, no new news outside of what Phil and Robert, as Jez says. Like, he's not, like, he shouldn't be called Bobby. He should be called Robert.
Yeah, we don't call him Bobby. We call him Robert. His name's Robert Kotick.
Yes.
Robert Kotick.
But yeah, Phil mentioned Guitar Hero in the interview. Robert mentioned Guitar Hero. It's funny because he was like, yeah, these two games, Guitar Hero and Skylanders, you know, they were destroyed by other competitors. It's like, bro, you helped kill both. Like, what are you talking about? Sure, you know, like Guitar Hero was killed by all these plastic peripherals, and you releasing Guitar Hero this, and Guitar Hero AC/DC, and Guitar Hero Metallica, and yeah, Rock Band was Rock Band Beatles and Rock Band Lego. Like, that, it just killed the whole music genre. And then Skylanders, you had Skylanders throwing out all these different ones, and there was like Disney Infinity, remember, like all the Toys to Life stuff. Like, you have some culpability for that. So we only know
a lot. Like, even before I was really following the industry, I remember thinking, my God, there's a lot of Guitar Hero games. He just saturated the market, and he's doing the same to Call of Duty now.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. So 12 minutes on this voting, Jez. We got 566 votes. Do you want Jez to be wrong? 73% say hell yeah. And 27% say no.
Ah, man.
So 75% of the people want you to be wrong, Jez.
That's mean.
Yeah, so thank you for everybody for voting in that. We want Jez to be wrong. Maybe the one time we want Jez to be wrong. Thaneros says Scalebound was the game that changed Xbox then to Xbox now. Yeah, that's a very good way of looking at it. Andy Hart says, really enjoying my Series X playthrough of Max Payne 3. Love it, awesome. Gritty story. Thoughts, please, Rand and Jez. I mean, we both love Max Payne 3. I haven't played it since the 360, but I think I did
remember it, but I remember loving it.
I did 3 playthroughs of it originally. I think I did it the first time, then I played it on the hardest, and then I did like speedrun mode or whatever it was. That game's incredible. I would love to see Rockstar do a Max Payne 4.
I wasn't a big fan of the tone shift. Like they traded for like the comic panels for like, what was it, like a sort of TV show kind of thing. I didn't like that aspect of it. But the gameplay and the story was actually really tight.
Yeah. Tito says, Jez, Phil is a what type of guy?
He's a nice guy. Phil, he's a nice guy.
Phil's a nice guy. So nice, he's going to let PlayStation players continue to play Call of Duty Warzone, but not the new Call of Duty games. Such a nice guy. Achievement says, I just got my copy of Pokemon Legends Arceus. Y'all have a good day, and I'll catch you tomorrow on Xbox Era. So yeah, there's a new Pokemon game out, right, Jez?
Yes, there is, and reviews of it are pretty glowing, although it's Nintendo, so of course they're glowing. But apart from the awful graphics, the combat and the new features they've added seem pretty cool. You gonna buy it, Rand?
No, I already did my playthrough of a Pokemon game, and I did not like it. I'm definitely not playing this one. This is all you, man. Are you gonna play it?
I haven't got my Switch. My Switch is in the UK.
You're not missing much with the Switch, bro. Come on.
Well, I want to finish Metroid Dread. I was pretty near the end, I think. I just killed like one of the second to last boss or something. But yeah, I'll get it eventually. I got too much I want to play at the moment, you know.
You do have too much to play. Elden Ring. I mean, I'm playing Dying Light 2. You're playing Dying Light 2. Can't talk about it yet. We'll talk about it next week on the podcast. So AR Not Skywalker says, will Obsidian release a game in 2022? Any updates? What do you think, Jez? Because Avowed, I think, is 2023. Outer Worlds 2 is, I think, 2024. Pentiment. Could Pentiment be this year? The Josh Sawyer game?
I think it is. I think it is planned. I think it is planned for Pentiment to be this year. You know what? I need to do a roadmap of all the games that I think are on the way, and when they're coming, because I do have a lot of launch dates at the moment. I got a lot of good information on launch dates, and while 2022 is looking a bit dry, 2023 and 24 are looking insane. So yeah, I do need to update that. But off the top of my head, I think Pentiment is this year.
Well, and I would imagine Grounded 1.0 is this year as well, right?
I don't think it is.
You don't think Grounded 1.0 is this year either, huh?
Off the top of my head, I think that's next year. I do think they've got a big update planned for this year, like a really, really big update. But I think 1.0 is actually scheduled for next year. But I could be wrong about that off the top of my head again. But yeah, bear with me on that. I'll have a look into that.
You look. Intern of War says, do you think Microsoft should throw around more money for Japanese and Korean devs to make games for them, again, before trying to get studios or studio? I mean, Microsoft talks a big game about getting Japanese support, and that's maybe... And I know Jez's article about, hey, he wrote an article maybe a week ago about the problems or the issues a lot of people have with that Xbox fans want fixed about Xbox in general. And one of them was Xbox Game DVR. But another one was like they want more Japanese games, right?
Yeah, Japanese games was a really big one that people wanted to see solved. So I suppose that's that's got to be on Microsoft's mind, and maybe they'll just like full blown go with a publisher acquisition. But that's probably going to come after Activision at this point.
Yeah,
we'll have to wait.
If you guys are enjoying the show, could you do us a big favor? Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and please share this out on social media, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or whatever, because YouTube
TikTok
sometimes does a bad job of letting people know we're live. So thank you. MySpace, yes. Charging Buck says, why can't cloud saves be used in the same way Play Anywhere works? I love being able to switch between console and PC. Keep up the good work, fellas. Aren't cloud saves used in the same way Play Anywhere works, Jez? I mean, I've never...
it depends on the game. See, this is I know what he's talking about. It's because, like, some games use UWP, right, for PC.
Okay.
And when they use UWP, then you can do cloud saves. But if the PC version is Win32, then you can't do cloud saves because it's Win32 and it's a different platform, so they don't translate very well. Is there a future where Microsoft can sort of solve that issue between a UWP, Xbox APIs, and Win32? I honestly don't know. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Maybe that's something I'm looking into, because I do know that Steam has some kind of system where the Proton version of a game still works with the Win32 Windows version or something, like the Linux version of a game. Off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure about that either, but maybe they'll look into that. But it is to do with conflicting platforms, and you know, one of the big annoyances for me is how inconsistent cloud saves and Play Anywhere are between Xbox and PC. Some games work and some games don't. So.
Okay. Keyshawn Thompson has been a member for 2 months. Says, what do you guys expect will be shown from the first-party studios at E3 for Xbox? Man, we're talking 6 months out from now. I'm not even in that mindset right now of thinking what we're going to see at not E3, right? That's what we're going to call it, not E3?
Not E3, yeah.
I mean, off the top of my head, I mean, Avowed, I think will be there for sure. Starfield will be there for sure. Redfall will be there for sure. Forza Motorsport will be there. Presumably Forza Horizon 5 DLC, because they have 2 expansions. One of them will be shown off. Halo Infinite DLC potentially, right?
Yeah.
Trying to think. I mean, it got so many studios. I'm just kind of like, okay, nothing from Activision Blizzard because they don't own them yet. I think we see Compulsion's game this year for the first time.
Yeah, I think so too.
I Trying to think what other studios. I think we see Contraband again. I don't know. I would have to look at the studios to kind of get a sense. I don't think we see Fable. Do we see Hellblade again, even though we just saw it at the Game Awards? Do we see Perfect Dark? I don't know. I kind of have to go through the list, but they have a lot of things they can show, not only from first party, but from Bethesda and from Xbox Global Publishing, as we're going to talk about, because Jez knows of more stuff.
Yeah.
So
I got a bunch of new code names as well.
Yeah, a bunch of new, not just the Monster Hunter one, but other code names, ladies and gentlemen. You want to pay attention to this later, and anybody listening to this, you might want to write some articles or not. I don't know what Jez is gonna say. So, Gaming Forte, my brother says, "Stop it, Rand. Jez can't be wrong. He works for Windows Central. Plus, I'm still waiting on the purchase confirmation of the Beagle I truly desire from you." See, he's using that word desire, Jez.
Desire.
Yeah.
Desire. That's an important word nowadays.
It is. Hero says, Hey guys, change name from Blue. Curious as to how I could become a content creator such as yourselves. I would love to one day join you, and one day. How do you become a content creator like us?
If you got Twitter, drop me a DM and I'll give you some tips, because it's too long-winded to talk on the podcast about that. So drop me a DM on Twitter at Jez Corden, and I'll get some information.
Yeah, it's never been easier really to start. Xbox, even though we kind of talk about their DVR, Xbox have a DVR, PlayStation is a DVR. All you got to really do is maybe buy a cheap USB thumbstick, capture gameplay onto the thumbstick, bring it over to your PC, use a free editing software. I use Adobe Premiere Pro, which is paid for, but I was using before like Windows Central or Windows Movie Maker, which was Windows Central. But there are other free editing softwares out there that you can use. But all you really need is just some gameplay and just speak and start a YouTube channel and put yourself out there. Maybe start a podcast if you want. It's never really been easier to kind of start to be a content creator. Obviously, you got to get a microphone, which you want to get a decent sounding microphone because people won't want to listen to you if your microphone sounds bad. But yeah, hit up Jez, hit up me. I usually check my message requests once every week. If you have any questions about it, but it's pretty easy now. Shout out to Sean Labrie in the chat. He made that amazing thumbnail for Xbox Era for Xbox 4. So, Jez, what happens tomorrow if we wake up and we're just like, you know what? I don't feel like doing Xbox 4, and we just cancel on making them. Would they be upset, you think?
I think they would be, yeah.
Yeah. I think they would be upset. Peter says, any word on Shenmue 3 coming to Xbox? No word, at least that I've heard of. And does anybody even really want it on Xbox? Isn't it? I can't imagine it coming.
You're not a fan of Shenmue?
No, never played it. Not my thing.
No, fair enough.
Space Dovikin says Xbox has a lot of manpower and IPs now. They only need to start pumping out good games, but I would love if they go after WB, Sega, Square Enix. I mean, mindset, or me, like, I would love WB. Sega would be kind of like, but Lord Cognito would be jumping up and down if that would happen. Square, I think you can get the best parts of Square without buying Square, and that means you could get Crystal Dynamics from them and Eidos Montreal, and I think that's just as good as getting Square. I know some people really want the Final Fantasy stuff, but I'd be more interested in their Western developers. James says Microsoft is banking everything on Game Pass. That just disappeared. The value for them comes from the sub count. Studios will approach Game Pass if most gamers are there. 100%. 100%. Andy says, Jazz, will we see World of Warcraft on console? Heard it's very much mouse and keyboard orientated. Yeah, there's been a split. I've noticed a lot of people saying there's no way World of Warcraft can come to Xbox. It's too complicated. But you feel that they will make the push, right? That they will.
Yeah. I think we'll see World of Warcraft on console. It is true. It is a different beast, and it will require a lot of changes to make it work and make it flow, and also like one of the big issues with it, honestly, is add-ons. The game's designed around add-ons, like from the ground up. So like, because of that, the fact that it's designed around add-ons and Xbox doesn't support add-ons means that Microsoft would have to develop like all new systems to get it to run coherently. So, but I do think it'll happen, because World of Warcraft's a dying game. I'm actually going to write about this next week. I logged into World of Warcraft yesterday to look at the state of it. It's almost sad. It's eerie. Like the last time I played it, my guild was thriving. They were raiding, they were doing hard endgame content that's like really difficult and all that kind of stuff. And I just logged in, Rand. My guild's dead. Like there's just no one online. Yeah, it's dead. There was like one person online, and I was like, "Hey guys, is this guild still active?" And they're like, "Not really." So everyone's just disappeared. And I've walked around the cities. They're empty. No one's chatting in the chat channels. Just kind of almost eerie, like a ghost town, like Silent Hill or something. So they'd find a new audience on Xbox that had never been able to play the game before. Which the game, if it's brand new to you, you might enjoy it. But for veterans, they need to do something about the quality, because the quality's just gone down and down and down and down and down in recent years. So hopefully, under Microsoft, the game's fortunes will change, but we'll have to wait and see.
We got a serious DM here, Jez. From Grizzly Bear King says, respectfully, why are you guys salivating over Consolidation? Inevitable or not, do we really want a world where Sega, Capcom, Square, Take-Two, EA comes from first party? And I see this a lot, and I get the sentiment. A lot of people are afraid of Consolidation, right? But for me, I kind of view Microsoft's acquisitions as very positive. Their first round of acquisitions were, I looked at it like Ninja Theory is a great developer who's kind of been stuck in this indie route of, we can make these games, we got to sort of be mercenaries, and we don't really have a lot of budget, but aligning ourselves with Microsoft frees us from having to worry about the budgets of these games to that extent. We can make what we truly want. Same thing, like, you look at like Double Fine, you look at Obsidian, games that, studios that were having financial problems. Obsidian was doing Kickstarter stuff. Now they can make bigger and better games than they ever had before. Same thing with like Double Fine, right? And I look at Bethesda, and I look at a company like Bethesda, and I think the acquisition is going to be great for them, because not only great for them, but great for gamers, specifically because the gaming industry changed under Bethesda, and Bethesda's not equipped to change with it, right? Everything went from being single-player focused to suddenly multiplayer-oriented live services. And you saw Bethesda pivot with Wolfenstein, New Blood, with Fallout 76. So you remember the E3 one year, they're like, Save Player One was their whole marketing campaign. And then like all their games the following year were mobile games and games with some sort of co-op or online thing that people really didn't like. And I view the Bethesda purchase as essentially allowing Bethesda to go back to make the games that they're known for and they're really good at, instead of following the trend of chasing after live services or games as a service and DLCs and microtransactions and stuff. Like, I thought it would be good for them to basically remain making games to the sort of games they really love making. And the same thing with Activision Blizzard. Clearly, it's been a whole company in decline. Blizzard, Activision's killed literally anything that isn't Call of Duty. So I look at it as positive, because I think we're going to see a renewed Blizzard making incredible content again. I think we're going to have a lot of these studios that are support on Call of Duty being removed from that and be able to make new experiences once again. So I look at all these things as a positive thing. Of course, I could be wrong. I don't know the future. Maybe it's a horrible thing. But I look at these acquisitions as something really good is going to come out of it. So when I talk about Warner Brothers, me and Jez have talked at length, like, the reason I want Warner Brothers is because they are incredible developers, but there's something wrong at Warner Brothers. There's something clearly wrong. Rocksteady's last game was 2015. It's 2022, Who knows if Suicide Squad comes out? That's 8 years in between games. Warner Brothers Montreal, their last game's 2013. The Gotham Knight's supposed to be this year. That's 9 years. Monolith, their last game was 2017. Wonder Woman is probably 2023. That's 6 years. We saw the stuff with Traveler's Tale and the Skywalker saga. That was delayed 2 years, and they have a whole bunch of crunch. The only one that seems to be doing well and releasing on a steady cadence is NetherRealm. So I almost look at it like if you were to get Warner Brothers, you could essentially help these studios out to actually release games in a faster pace or a better pace, because clearly something must be wrong if it takes Rocksteady 8 years to make a game or any of this stuff. There's something wrong there with some of these studios that these studios aren't just run properly. And I look at it as like, well, maybe Microsoft can fix it. I also look at it like, I think this is inevitable, just like in all these other industries where eventually everything's owned by a couple giant corporations, which I get sucks. But in this instance, I look at all these acquisitions and stuff as a positive because I think we're going to benefit from it. And I think the studios benefit it. And I think from the developers benefit it. I mean, that's just me. What do you think, Jez?
I'm less diplomatic than you. I think it's a fake concern.
Fake concern?
I don't think consolidation's an issue. There's no evidence that consolidation is an issue. What people look at with consolidation, they try to compare it to other industries. Like in the UK, we have this really annoying issue in the UK of the rail franchises being consolidated. Because the rail franchises have no competition, the prices for trains in the UK are ridiculous and they're way higher than Europe. I don't think you can compare some of the consolidation in other industries to what's going on here, because we are nowhere near consolidation being an issue in the gaming industry. We are decades away from it. We are decades away from consolidation being an issue in the gaming industry. Not only that, is that the gaming industry is an open platform. We have seen games come out of nowhere and blow up with very, very small budgets. Minecraft, Among Us, Fall Guys. We see it time and time again. You don't need billions of dollars to make a game into a mega hit. You don't need it, right? We live in an age of direct to consumer. We live in an age of open storefronts, and this whole consolidation argument is false. I think it's fear mongering. I think it's fake, and I think a lot of the people pushing this have an agenda. And I don't believe that consolidation is anywhere near an issue yet. It's decades away. So I don't even care about it. So when people say like we're celebrating consolidation, we're not celebrating consolidation. What we're celebrating is Microsoft competing. We're celebrating them competing against other companies, Tencent and Sony. You know, we're celebrating competition. We're not celebrating consolidation. Every single media outlet called on Microsoft to get more games. And that's what they're doing. And now everyone's crying about consolidation. Nobody cried about consolidation when Tencent was buying literally everyone. I think it's fake. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. So that's my take on it. Respectfully.
I mean, there could be a little truth to that. It could be. I wonder if Sony was bought Activision Blizzard, if we see the same level of concern, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just don't care, man. I think the world's got bigger problems than worrying about which rich asshole's name is on the box of a game. What the issue should be is it going to be better for devs? Is it going to be better for consumers? Who cares what which rich asshole publisher company's name is on the box? Does it lead to worse creativity? Does it lead to, worse conditions for devs? Does it lead to higher prices for games? I don't think it leads to any of those things. So until someone can prove to me that it's a bad thing, I just think it's fake concern, personally. It actually bugs me because we're so far away from consolidation that it just doesn't make any sense to me. There's only positives here. There's only positives, so...
Right.
That's my take on it.
Chaos Might says 2 trillion Japanese equals 17 billion USD equals 15 billion euro equals 22 billion Canadian. So that's that would be Sony's. I think he would be referring to Sony's debt. Brett says, I want Fable gameplay for Xbox Showcase 2022, and maybe will. Like, I just sort of think if Fable is 2024, I don't think they show it this year, but maybe they do. Maybe we see something from Fable. Jake says, if Game Pass goes to PlayStation, would there be any point in buying an Xbox anymore? I mean, you get all of Xbox games and PlayStation exclusives on one system, thanks. So how would you respond to that? Because I've seen that come up a lot, Jez, that imagine if Nice Guy Phil was able to somehow make a deal to get Game Pass on PlayStation. Would people think that Xbox would die because there'd be no reason to buy the console? Because you can get a PlayStation and get the Xbox exclusives and the PlayStation exclusives. So what would you say to that?
I would say that, I mean, I don't get that argument, because if your friends have an Xbox, like, you play where your friends are, basically, and it'll be the same situation. I play an Xbox. I don't play many co-op games, so I don't think too much about, like, where are my friends going to play, because I honestly don't play that often with friends these days. Just too busy. What I think is, like, where am I getting the value? And yeah, I get Xbox Game Pass, and if Xbox Game Pass was on PlayStation 5, then that does change the argument a bit. But having said that, I also, like, the Xbox Series X is on paper still more powerful, right? Mm-hmm. And I just prefer the interface. And there's like other ways that differentiation can happen. Like, I don't think we'll see Game Pass on PlayStation anyway. I think Phil probably wants it. But in their view, they're thinking, like, we can always put out the best hardware. I think they kind of feel confidently about that now. They've got hardware on lock. There's no more concerns about, you know, back in the day when Xbox was way behind on hardware. I don't think that's going to be an issue. And I think we could even see the power gap between the consoles grow. What matters is access. And I think Microsoft's going to have the best ecosystem for access. So ultimately, I don't think the console where you play matters too much, because they're still going to make consoles. They will still make consoles, much like Microsoft still makes Surface devices. Surface devices are a very tiny portion of the PC market. Microsoft make them because they like making them. They like them because they like making them. It's like devs. They make AAA games, not because they're the most profitable or the least risky. They'd be making mobile games if that was the case. They make AAA core games with crazy graphics because they like it. It's the intersection of hyper-motivated, passionate, creative people, and technology is the same way. So Microsoft will still put out consoles, even if Game Pass was on PlayStation, they would still put out consoles because they like it. Even if, like, only a few people were buying them because everyone switched over to Sony or whatever, they'd still put them out. They still put out Surfaces, even though, like, most people buy a Dell or a Lenovo, because Surfaces are bloody expensive. But you get something with Surface that you just don't get with another computer. Surfaces are sexy. They're just bloody sexy, you know? So I don't think it's a big deal. I think if Microsoft puts Game Pass on PlayStation and it's a one-to-one experience and people just prefer to buy PlayStation for the exclusives that PlayStation has, I don't think it's a big deal, because I think Microsoft will still put out consoles. They'll try and differentiate in other ways with quality and power. And I don't think it's a big deal at all. But that's just me, because I don't care about console sales. It's all about which service is bigger, and that's going to be Xbox, in my view.
Right. Ultra wants to know if we can pick a franchise for the Master Collection. Which one do you guys pick? For me, it's Fable. So yeah, let's talk about this, because our buddies over at Xbox Era were teasing that there's a franchise that Microsoft is going to basically turn into Master Chief Collection.
Yes.
And Jez, I know you want it to be the love of your life.
Gears of War! Yay!
Do you think
it's got to be Gears, man.
You think a Gears collection makes sense?
Nobody cares about Fable. Make it Gears. Oh god, I can't say that out loud. I can't say that. But no, I think Gears. I'd like to see Gears. I think it'd be a good way to give the franchise some legacy, preserve those games for future, bring back some of the multiplayer servers, maybe merge all the multiplayer maps into one whole mad server farm, you know, and the gameplay experiences. Have playlists like the Master Chief Collection, and then that'd be great. And I think it's got way more potential than Fable as a Fable collection. That being said, do both. Why not just do both? I mean, this is Microsoft, right? And they've got unlimited money, so I hear. Why not just do both? Because Fable, you get Fable also getting preserved, and you get Fable's legacy being preserved, and you also get like marketing for Fable Reboot. Because a lot of people aren't that familiar with Fable. Like I've completed Fable 1 and actually I don't think I have completed Fable 1. I've completed Fable 2 with the dog because it had a dog in it. But I don't think I ever completed Fable 1. And I never played Fable 3. So for me, Fable's a bit of a mystery. You know, it's got a mystique about it. So I would love to go back and play like a remastered collection and stuff just to get acclimated with the franchise. And I think that'd be the same for a lot of people once like we start seeing gameplay of the Fable reboot. But I do think Gears has more potential just because of the multiplayer, just because there's esports potential. I think it's more marketable. And I think Gears fans are long suffering, and they deserve it.
Long suffering? What do you mean long suffering? There hasn't been a Fable game since 2010. What do you mean? There's
been but they've been given time to get over the suffering. For Gears of War fans, it's still sore, man. The wounds are still open for Gears fans. So I think Gears fans deserve some respite, especially like on the multiplayer.
Do you think
side,
it has to be multiplayer? Do you think for something like a Master Chief Collection, for them to do it, it has to have a big multiplayer component?
Yes, it needs to have a full-blown multiplayer like Master Chief Collection with all the maps and all the servers all together in one big jamboree of fun. I think that would be the most ideal solution for me personally. But I mean, Rand, if we're thinking about not your personal preference and what you think would be best, what would you pick, Fable or Gears?
Well, I just put a question in chat. So for the over 1,600 people that are watching the show, if you want to vote on it, be our guest. Thank you for watching the show. And if you're enjoying it, make sure you hit the like button. It's a lot of people. We appreciate you. I said, what franchise do you want to see get a Master Chief-like collection? And I added 3 franchises, Jez. I said Gears, Fable, Fallout. Right?
Fallout. So what? You're talking about like Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4?
Yeah, like do a Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4. Maybe do they own Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 at this point?
Yes, they do.
I mean, why not do a Fallout collection, especially if it's going to be 10 years until they do a Fallout 5, you know?
Dude, they've already done this.
Have they?
They've already done a Fallout collection, and it came in a little nuke. It was really cool, but it was PC only. They bundled all 5 Fallout games into like a nuclear bomb. The package was a nuclear bomb, and it was for PC, and it was awesome. And I was sitting there thinking, man, I would love this on Xbox. But at the time, Microsoft didn't own Bethesda, so they've kind of already done it. But if they did it again with remastered textures and all that,
would imagine redoing the Fallout games with the new creation engine, huh? You do Fallout 3, Fallout 4,
like a full-blown remaster,
Fallout New Vegas with Creation Engine 2. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like
that'd be a huge amount of work. That is not.
I understand.
That's remake territory now.
KR
that's
says
like huge.
KR says a Barbie collection for Rand. Yes, a Barbie collection. I would say Gears probably makes the most sense, especially if Gears 6 is further away, right? We do think it's further away. Coalition said they weren't going to basically announce anything for a while. We know that they're working on 2 projects. Jez has that info, but we don't know what the other project outside of Gears 6 is. I think Jeff said it might be, or the Grub said that new IP to get them used to Unreal. I do think if a Master Chief-like collection was coming from Gears, it wouldn't be done directly by the Coalition. I think it would be done by a different studio, and it makes it makes a lot of sense. I think because a lot of the Gears games aren't on PC. That's one of the reasons why Gears 5 didn't do that well on PC, because there isn't that love of the franchise there. So I think, if you can bridge the gap between now and when Gears 6 comes out and release, the Phoenix Collection, as people would call it, Gears 1, Gears 2, Gears 3, remaster them in Unreal Engine 5 or remake them in Unreal Engine 5 or something so they look really good, run at 60 frames. You have the multiplayer so people can play all the multiplayer stuff in one sort of thing while waiting for Gears 6. It makes a lot of sense, honestly. The only thing I throw out Fable is because Fable, I think, is 2024. Maybe they could put out a Fable Master Chief Collection next year to get people hyped for it. Like Fable, you put in Fable 1, Fable 2, and Fable 3. Have people play through it, kind of as promotion for the eventual release in 2024. And Fallout I added just simply because the fans are going to be waiting forever. I mean, we were kind of making fun of Maddie and be like, bro, the next time you're going to be playing a Fallout game, you're going to be like 40. You know, like...
Wow, that is a long time.
I mean, think about it. They got to do Starfield this year if it doesn't get delayed. Crossing our fingers, knock on wood. Cross our fingers, knock on wood. Cross our fingers, knock on wood that it doesn't get delayed. And then I think they just said pre-production has just started on Elder Scrolls 6. So you're talking probably 4 years at least. So you're looking at 2026 for Elder Scrolls. And then Todd probably retires at that point in time, right?
No. Todd does not retire.
I'm just saying, ever. Todd probably retires. And you know what? I bet Todd and Phil retire at the same time. So 4 years from now.
No, dude.
Phil,
what the hell?
So 4 years from now, I'm just saying 4 years from now, you got Todd Howard walking off into the sunset with Elder Scrolls 6. Phil walking off in the sunset as well with his friend. Sarah Bond taking over as CEO, Microsoft Gaming. And then another 4 or 5 years for Fallout 5. So why not do a Fallout collection for the fans to kind of keep them, keep Fallout, to give them something. But no, I do think if Special Nick is being truthful and he's correct, I do think it's probably Gears related.
I'm upset.
Why?
Because you're out here putting evil into the world, saying Phil and Todd are going to retire.
I'm just...
What would you do that? Why would you do that? I want you such a giant block of wood right now.
I'm just...
Find some wood. Find some wood.
Someone says, bro, Rand... It says, why are you making fanfic right now? I'm just, Fanfic.
Oh, God. I hope they don't retire. I don't want them to retire, ever. They need to play... They need to work on this shit forever. They're not allowed to ever retire.
Yeah.
You hear that, Todd? Hear that, Phil? You're not allowed to ever retire. At least not until I retire.
Chinook Guy says, has Xbox gotten too big for E3?
That's an interesting point. Like, it's funny because they've got BlizzCon. Did we talk? We might have talked about this last week. They got BlizzCon. They got Minecraft. Actually, I think they've changed it, haven't they, to Minecraft Festival. I think it used to be called Minecraft Live, and I think now it was going to be Minecraft Festival, but then the pandemic happened, and now it's been cancelled for 2 years. But they do Minecrafty stuff every now and then, and they've also got QuakeCon. They got the Bethesda shows, which they do.
Mm-hmm.
So they do a lot. They do a lot of shows. I think there is justification to bring back XO as a sort of dedicated sort of fan celebration in an E3-less world. Because let's face it, E3's dead. E3's never coming back.
E3's never coming back. Yeah.
So I think like with market consolidation and the industry changing and the pandemic, I think this is a final nail in E3's coffin. And you're going to see a lot of. I think Jeff Grubb said this on his GamesBeat Decides podcast earlier, which I was watching. He said that
Jeff does a good. He's a good podcast host. He's really good at it.
Is he?
You don't think so?
I've never been on a podcast.
Yeah, but I mean, you just said you were watching it though.
Yeah, but there's only 2 people. Does it count as hosting?
I mean, I guess sure. I mean, Jeff is super smart. I always wish sometimes we'd have more people on here because I would love to get Jeff on here to just pick his brain about stuff. He's really smart when it comes to a lot of things, Well, didn't we used to say we were going to start doing an extra show with a guest, like Xbox 2 Plus or something? Yeah, I mean, maybe we can do that later this year or whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's just,
thing or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just really like Grub. He's a cool guy. But even though I said that on Twitter, he told me to get back in my hole, so that wasn't very nice of him.
Oh well. Oh well, he's a nice guy. It's kind of like Phil. It's just a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just a nice guy. But yeah, I got slightly sidetracked there. What were we talking about?
Has Xbox gotten too big for E3?
Oh yeah. They're gonna have to reevaluate some of this stuff. Maybe they are too big for E3, but
Yeah, I don't think it
we'll have
really
to
matters.
wait.
I just wonder how Xbox is going to play this, because they're at the point now where you have all these games from first party, plus everything from Bethesda, plus the future of Activision, plus global publishing, where I think they're too big for just one show a year. Right?
Yeah. Oh, actually, that's what Jeff said. Jeff said on his podcast, GamesBeat Decides, he said that what you're going to see is you're going to see like a lot of these publishers partner up with other platforms to try and get some of that Jeff Keighley money.
Oh yeah, that
So
makes
like,
sense.
so like you might see like, I mean, even Future does it. Future, we have like the Future Game Show with it, which is in the Future family who own Windows Central. Although they often act like we don't exist, but we are part of Future apparently. Although Future really comprises of like Tech Radar, Games Radar, and PC Gamer. That they don't care about us. So there's that, and they have their own show, and they get publishers on their show, and they've been doing that for a few years now. But because of the death of E3, it started getting bigger, because like more publishers are like, well, we need some kind of show to join. A lot of them have just been joining like other shows, and you probably see a lot of fragmentation. You might see like, I don't know, Bethesda presented by the Future Show or something at a random time throughout the year, as companies like try and like, you know, sell access to their previews to other companies and get some money out of it. Kind of like how you know, Keeley's doing all that stuff now. Because if you've got a show and you've got eyeballs on it, you can get some of that fat marketing money. You can get Coca-Cola or Pepsi, be like, yeah, you can drop an ad in the middle of our show. Like the Game Awards is basically really the advertising show. It's not about the awards. It's about Jeff Keighley getting advertising money. Like, I've never seen so many ads in a show in my life.
Yeah,
Maybe
there were so many.
Yeah, that's I don't know if that's an American thing, because I know the Super Bowl's like that too, right? The Super Bowl with loads of ads. It's like you can't. It's like not having an ad blocker in real life. Like, at least like when you're on a website, you can use an ad blocker. Like when you're on Windows Central and you want to get rid of all our million ads, at least you can use an ad blocker. You can't use an ad blocker on these shows. So I think that's another reason why advertisers are looking increasingly to these kind of shows. But yeah, G4 TV's got like one of these shows as well. They came back out of nowhere.
Yes,
too.
they did come back out of nowhere. So I guess
I never watched the
anything's
original.
I watched G4 original, but I haven't watched any of the new ones yet. But yeah, Jacqueline in Super Chat, thank you. He says, fun fact, Sega has 4 games announced for 2022 so far, and 3 are day one for Game Pass. It's almost like they're part of the family already.
Yeah, we did. When that whole Sega thing went down, I speculated that it was going to mean more Game Pass deals, and
You did.
that is where we are now. A lot of people said it wasn't going to mean anything, but
Yeah, well, a lot of
certainly
people.
seems to mean something to me.
That's the thing. I don't want to say this because of what it potentially means, but I say never bet against Jez Corden. But then again, I'm betting against you about the Activision Blizzard thing in Call of Duty, so maybe I shouldn't say that. But we have over 650 votes on this poll. What franchise do you want to see a Master Chief Collection like collection? Gears, Fable, Fallout. Fallout 22%, Fable 36%, Gears 41%. So 41% of the people voting want to see a Gears like Master Chief Collection. I think it makes a lot of sense, especially if Gears 6 is coming. I would imagine. What if you had to take a guess right now? When do you think Gears 6 releases? If you had to
Gears
guess.
6?
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's so weird because, like, unlike a lot of the other games from the smaller studios, I don't know anything about Gears 6 really. So I have no idea.
I'm just saying, just pick a year, right? Because if they were on the regular development cycle, Gears 6 would be coming out this year, right? It's been 3 years since Gears 5. They do a 3-year thing. It's clearly not going to come this year. No. So Just pick a date. They came out and they
date.
said, "Hey, we're not going to be announcing anything for a while." Right? So tell me when Gears 6 is gonna happen. Do you think it's 2024? Do you think it's 2025? Do you think it's 2026?
I think it's 2024.
So you think it's 2024. So does that mean they can essentially do a Gears MCC collection and release it in 2023 then?
Yeah, I think that could be how it goes down. I want to believe that Gears 6 is going to be a much expanded game with expanded scope, expanded ambition, and all that kind of stuff. I want to believe that. Don't know. I haven't heard a damn thing about Gears. It's almost weird about how little I've heard about this game. But I hope they actually are making it. What if they're just not making it? What if Gears 5 was literally just the last one?
No, Gears 5 is not the last one. They're doing Gears 6. I'm gonna go a year. I'm going a year after you. 2025.
What if all the main 2025? Okay, so it is 2025 then. Rand predictions are actually just insider knowledge masquerading.
No, that's not true. That's not true at all. I have no idea.
No?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. 2025 speaks to me. Double the dev time, 2019 to 2025 with the game in between potentially. You can put out that new IP in 2023, supposedly next year, and then have the Gears Master Chief Collection in 2024, and then release Gears 6 in 2025. That you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So 2025 it is. Randall Insider bringing the knowledge, peeps. He's bringing.
We'll see. Alex wants to know if we think Fable could have a trailer at E3. Potentially. I would say no, but we'll find out. Get closer to E3, you start hearing things, and maybe all of a sudden you start hearing me and Jess say, like, expect Fable. Or maybe Fable shows up at the Game Awards. Who knows? Reaver wants to know, he got an Xbox One X, and he can't get a hold of the Series X. Is it worth getting a Series S, or just wait for now till they hopefully come to stores at some point? I guess it really depends. Right? What were you going to say?
I get this question a lot, and I often think about it myself. Like, what would I do in this situation?
Okay.
Because it is almost impossible to get a Series X. Like, I bought. Obviously I got the review unit of the Xbox Series X, and I also bought one for my brother's birthday a few years ago. But I also wanted to buy another one for my girlfriend's place, which is where I am now, because obviously I need it for work. So I had to get really lucky. Someone on Twitter sold me their spare one, and they didn't scalp me, which is really, really kind of them. But like I've been looking for another one for a friend, just to let them know when it was available. And dude, it is so hard to find them. I was thinking, like, do I recommend to this person, my friend, that they should just go ahead and get a Series S in the interim? Because I don't think that the chip shortage is going to abate anytime soon. Like, Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, as he's known online apparently, he has announced a plan to bring chip manufacturing to the United States in a big way. Intel's on board. I believe Microsoft's on board too, investing in bringing chips manufacturing to the United States. But that's going to take a while. That's going to take time. And I think like the latest information is that the chip shortage could last all the way through to 2023. So I would argue that what you could do is you could buy a Series S now and get a good year out of it, and then trade it in towards a Series X. Because once the chip shortage is abated, they should be easy to get, and you'll get decent credit on the Series S because they'll still be in demand for like younger audiences. Or maybe even by then, like you might have someone you want to give it to or donate it to, a friend or family member or something like that. Because, Rand, would you agree with me that the Series X, the Series S is an upgrade from the One X? It is, right?
Yes, I would agree with you on that, 100%.
It kind of sucks that the Series S doesn't get the One X back compat resolution. It only gets the one resolution, which means a lot of the back compat games do look like ass, unfortunately. But that's the only downside. Like, it's faster, it's more powerful for modern games, and it's really cute and tiny. So I think it's worth getting the Series S, but yeah, people in chat are saying chip shortage is stopping for at least 8 months. So.
I mean, it's cheap enough where it's $300, and if you can resell it and get some of your money back to essentially purchase a Series X. I guess it really also depends on what TV you have, 4K television versus 1080p. I think that comes into play. But I don't have the Series S, but my friends who do have it say it's like a really nice console. So yeah, I mean, if you can't get a Series X and you want to play some of this stuff, Series S is right there for you, and it's definitely in stock a lot of places. So
I was using the Series S in Germany while I was waiting to find a Series X, and I honestly I loved it. I was thinking I could use this as my main console, if I didn't have to. I wouldn't mind it because it's. At first, I was a bit annoyed because I was playing Chivalry 2 a lot of the time, and Chivalry 2 hadn't been upgraded or enhanced. I was like, man, this kind of sucks. It's slow, and it's the Xbox One version of the game. But then, as soon as I started bitching about it on Twitter, they dropped a patch which made it 60 frames and 1440p or something. So when the more games are enhanced for it, it's becoming like a true next gen console. Even though it's the cheapest one, not counting the Switch Lite or whatever it's called. The little Nintendo Switch. Actually, that doesn't count in the next gen console at all. What am I talking about? That came out last gen.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that I still think of Switch as this gen because it sells so damn well.
Imagine when they release the Switch 2. How well is that going to sell?
Dude, I'll be there on day one.
Of course you will, and a lot of people will too. Faisal in the super chat says Sega is officially out of the arcade business. Why everything seems focused on MP when it comes to new projects or code names? ? We'll talk about that in a minute because we'll go over the stuff. It just kind of seems how it is. Microsoft is definitely very focused on co-op and multiplayer, even though they have single-player stuff coming from other studios and Bethesda and whatever. They want to mix the stuff, but co-op definitely. We've talked about that before with a lot of the big games they get for Game Pass are co-op focused, like Back 4 Blood, Extraction. Right, so one person subscribes and plays it, and then drags along their other 2 or 3 friends to play those games, and they subscribe or they buy it. Right, it makes a lot of sense. So that's why you see a lot of multiplayer stuff, and but there's definitely a lot of single player stuff coming too. Snowdragon says sheltering games from investors is going to be awesome. Sony can pull it off, but studios directly funded by investors is hurting game development. Andy Hart says, would you like to see Condemn 3 from Monolith? Yes, I love the Condemn series. Condemn 1 was so spooky. Did you ever play that, Chaz? Condemn 1?
I did. I don't think I got through it because it was so damn spooky. I think it was
super
damn,
spooky.
This is too spooky even for me. But yeah, Condemn was sick, and I would like to see that come back, even if it was just a remake. Maybe that's one of the games Sega's working on, a remake of that. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Adam says, Meat Puppet says, Rand, with Phil having said they want their games everywhere, will we ever see Game Pass on Switch? I think 100% they want Game Pass on Switch. I think they want Game Pass on Switch more than they want Game Pass on PlayStation.
Yeah, that would solve a lot of accessibility problems. I think if they could get Game Pass on Switch, they wouldn't even bother with PlayStation. I really think that. I think they'd just be like, yeah, we'll give it a Switch, and then Switch will be our handheld. Boom, job done.
Because you can make the argument that a lot of the Xbox and PlayStation demographics are very similar, whereas the Switch appeals to a completely different gamer, the age ranges and stuff, where I do think, with Jez, if they were able to somehow get Game Pass on Switch, it opens it up to a lot of new people. And it was well, we don't even need Game Pass on PlayStation. Because Switch, say what you will, but Switch right now is bigger than PlayStation. I know that's kind of how dare you say that? Switch is number one. And it will be number one for probably their foreseeable future, right? At least sell the most. So yeah, I think if they were able to get Game Pass on Switch, then maybe it's we don't need PlayStation anymore. So we'll see. Hey, our buddy Special Nick's in chat, Jez.
Oh, Special
He's
Nick.
Here.
Should
we give him the bad news that we got to cancel for tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Nick.
Hey, Nick. A bigger podcast asked me and Jez to do Xbox 4, and we were like, yeah. So, unfortunately, it's on at 2:30, so we're going to have to cancel on Xbox Era. Hopefully, you're not upset, and we can reschedule for a couple months down the road. We can do it, when there's another acquisition.
Oh dear.
Let's see what he says. He'll probably be upset. He's like, "Wait a minute, you guys promised."
Bullshit. He doesn't believe you, Rand.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Are you lying? Are you a liar, Rand?
Yeah.
Rand, a liar.
I was trying to get him upset. Adam says, "Could this collection have anything to do with that weird chicken tweet from last year?" Well, you know what? Let's ask the man himself. Nick, we were talking about your Master Chief Collection-like rumor that you said on Xbox Era. People want to know if it has to do with Fable or Gears. Why don't you say it in chat? Tell us what's going on. Tell us what game it is. Tell us what franchise it is. The people want to know, Nick. The people deserve to know. Give the people what they want. Tell us all about it. Let's see if he does. Let's see if he does.
It does. There's a bit of a delay.
Yeah.
Good old YouTube. Could you imagine if we were like this podcast, if Mixer had survived and we did the podcast on Mixer instead?
Yeah, that'd be crazy if we did. Space Dovicus says, "I bet there's a secret Fallout game in development." A lot of people would really like that if that was the case. Aquaman says, "Should Xbox-owned platforms get Breath of the Wild treatment?" BOW treatment. I don't know what that means. Should Xbox-owned platformers get the Breath of the Wild treatment?
Like a big budget reboot with that's open world, I guess. That's more sandboxy.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting to think about. It's undoubtable that Breath of the Wild has had a big influence on the industry in recent years, right?
Yes.
Like it's sort of changed the way a lot of devs have thought about making games. But the thing is that some of the older Zelda games were already kind of like that, which makes it a bit weird to me. But I don't know. But more and more games are looking at like the interactivity between elements in a sandbox rather than like focusing on scripted stuff. I think like the fact that like Skyrim, it comes from Skyrim really, and Oblivion, where like every object in the world you can interact with it, and it creates like these cascading effects that make a world feel more dynamic and interactive. And Breath of the Wild really does gamify that in a big way. I think a lot of the stuff that happens in the creation engine games like Fallout and Skyrim, a lot of it happens by accident. Like things glitch out and you go flying across the map. But Breath of the Wild gamified it in a sort of in a way, and it has definitely impacted. Like you can see the influence in Halo Infinite, for example. You can see the influence in and Sea of Thieves does it as well. A lot of Sea of Thieves elements are interactive like that. So I do think like if Microsoft does bring back Banjo or something like that, they will definitely be looking at Breath of the Wild as an influence for sure. I would say.
And Special Nick says he's not allowed to say.
Oh man, maybe you'll tell us on the Xbox 4 then Saturday.
Well, no, we canceled on it though.
Oh, all right, yeah, we cancel. Sorry, Nick.
Sorry, Nick.
But maybe we can uncancel if he'll
if you tell us in the DMs, we'll uncancel and do your show tomorrow.
Yeah, tell us everything.
Yes. Andrew says, "Just wanted to say have a great weekend, fellas. Love the content. Keep up the great work. What's your guys' favorite snack food for a gaming session or during a gaming session?" Do you like to munch when you play Dark Souls, Jez? Do you like to eat some food?
I just like having a cup of tea. I don't do snacks anymore because of dieting. Actually, that's a lie. I often have like a Kit Kat with a cup of tea or something, or a little chocolate or something. But yeah, a cup of tea and then something to dip in the tea. That's how I roll. That's the British way. A biscuit or a Kit Kat or a Twix. Twix dipping in tea is lovely. Do you have anything around?
No, I actually never have snacked while playing.
Oh.
I just
round out focused.
I drink, like, you know, obviously when I was in my Diet Coke Mountain Dew phase, I would drink clearly, but now I'm all in Propel, right? I got my Propel watermelon, my Propel mandarin orange, my Propel strawberry lemonade, and I'm down in that. I just finished one during the show.
Clean.
Yeah, but no, I've actually never really snacked while playing. So I don't know. Does anybody let us know what your snack is, chat? Like, what do you like to snack on while playing your games? Because I never have, so I'm kind of curious to see what other people use. So I don't know. I just never thought like, well, I'm playing a game, I might as well eat something. Meat Puppa says, any chance at the beginning of games like Gears 6, this case, will they ever felt like a recap of the story at this point? They always do a recap all the time most of the time at least, and they probably definitely will, depending on how long it takes Gears 6 to come out. There'll definitely be a recap. The Borgman says, "Do you think Microsoft could say to Sony, 'We will bring COD games to PlayStation if you agree to support DX Ultimate hardware API? Dominance is a good long play.'" I don't know. What do you think about that, Jez?
DX Ultimate API. I don't know if Microsoft even wants Sony to support that, because DX Ultimate is kind of like, it's leverage. Because it's on PC, it kind of entices devs to the Xbox ecosystem, because it's like, well, if you use these APIs, then you get like they work across platforms or whatever, and it's almost like an exclusive feature for Xbox. So I don't think Sony doesn't use it because of that. I think Microsoft makes it exclusive on purpose, because it's not like you can use them on Linux either. You can't even use them on Windows 7 and 10 and 8. Some of those APIs are Windows 11 exclusive, I think, off the top of my head, or they're at least Windows 10 exclusive. So I think Microsoft uses that as leverage. I don't think Sony's refusing it. I think Microsoft's refusing it personally, but I could be wrong about that. I could be wrong.
We got people saying combos and Gatorade. Someone saying medical cannabis, G Fuel, Pringles. Andrew says maybe a chip or cookie. Someone says no snacks, can't get the controller dirty. Marco, that's what Marco says. Only glass of water. Joe Sinister says I drink hard liquor while on Halo multiplayer. I've been shit-faced a couple times. Forte says, don't lie, Rand. I hear you in party chat eating Kit Kats. Well, you're lying, sir, because I don't think I've ever eaten a Kit Kat on party chat before. Geek says Oreos. Devada says snacking while gaming sounds like a filthy habit. Yeah. Carolina Gamer says beer is a great snack while gaming. Yeah. Peter says grapes are a good one. Pretzels too. Pretzels I can see, yeah.
I can't eat pretzels anymore.
Dio Game wants to know if we know the camera perspective for Contraband, Jez.
I think it's third person, off the top of my head.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, it's third person. I think if you think of it like Just Cause and I was going to say Max Payne, but what I mean is Mad Max. It's got a huge emphasis on vehicular combat. That's not to say you can't shoot. I believe there are guns, and I believe there are like gunplay and that kind of thing. But the emphasis is definitely not on gunplay. They want you to the emphasis is on sabotage. So like when you're in these vehicular combat situations in Contraband, and a lot of the emphasis is on breaking the enemy's tires and stuff like that. It's not on killing them, I believe. That might have changed in development. Maybe they decided, this is not fun. We need to add blood and guts to it. But I don't think they will. I think it's being made as a sort of vehicular combat game. So I think that's where it'll land in the end.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Chaos Mice says Intel said they're building 2 chip manufacturing buildings in Ohio, and Samsung said they're building chip manufacturing buildings in Texas.
Yeah, Texas and Ohio are going to be like the West's ground zero for all chips, which is really cool. And actually, I think Germany's getting one as well from Intel. So Germany's getting one as well for Europe. Because as a matter of national security, they want to start shutting China out of some of the supply chain. But I think it's more to do with demand, really. Yeah. They can't keep up with demand, so.
I mean, they've sold more Xboxes than any Xbox ever, and still sold out. So clearly, demand is outstripping the supply. Carlos says Rare should make a Breath of the Wild game, but in Sea of Thieves style. Hero says, I'm going to put my neck on the line. Fable is getting the collection. That was what the quote gathering the chickens tweet was about. The chickens as in each of the games. Fable is going to need the extra hype boost. Mic drop. I mean, you could 100% be right. I've always wondered why that Twitter account tweeted out the whole thing about the Fable anniversary, and then they were like, oh, nothing to see here. You remember that?
That is weird shit, yeah.
It was definitely weird.
That was so weird. Random.
And
so very strange.
Maybe you're right. Maybe Fable needs the boost. And Fable, Fable 1, 2, and 3, you could put in the collection, remaster them like they did the first one. It's definitely possible. Assuming Nick is right. I don't know if he's here in chat anymore. Maybe we'll find out more about this game tomorrow if there is a rumor mill or whatever. But I don't know. I sort of kind of feel like Jez is correct, where like you do a collection like that has multiplayer, and if you do Gears 1, 2, 3, and Judgment, you just like you can just bounce around all the maps from all the games, and it basically is like, okay, Gears 5 is essentially, now I wouldn't say dead, but nobody really plays it that much anymore. But here's, the basically the Gears that people love, right? 1, 2, and 3. And we know Gear 6 is going to be years away, so like here's this in the meantime, where like Fable's coming really soon. Like maybe even though I say I think Fable's 2024, I could be wrong. Maybe Fable's 2023. And if that's the case, you don't really need a Fable collection, but you might need a Gears collection. So
that's true.
Metal Morbo says, "Who can be the cutesy Xbox mascot a la Astrobot?" Well, I mean, you could have Spyro. Could have Spyro. You could have Crash Bandicoot, which caused up a stir this past week. Jez, did you see all the stuff going on about? You didn't see the stuff going on with Crash?
Oh, you mean Aaron Greenberg's avatar?
Yes.
Oh, right. Yeah, he upset people, right?
Yeah, a lot of people were upset. How could they do that to PlayStation?
Aaron's such a troll, man. He's such a troll, isn't he? Oh, man.
I didn't think people cared that much, but apparently they do, because people were upset.
Dude, I'm telling you, Crash is associated with PlayStation, especially in the UK, because Crash was bundled with the PlayStation 1 in the UK when it launched. At least it was for me and everyone I knew. So, like, for a lot of people, Crash is it's a, basically a PlayStation brand, but not anymore, I guess.
Well, I mean, Crash has been on every Xbox. There was two games on the OG Xbox, a bunch of games on the 360, a bunch of games. I mean, it's been on every system. I don't know. I just love the fact that people got their panties in a bunch over it. It's kind of funny to see. What else we got here? Although now that they have all these mascots, like, you can pick any one of them. Like, why not have a Crash, Spyro, Banjo crossover? Hell, like, bring back Conker. You don't need to bring back Conker and bring him his own game, but you can have Conker come back.
Well, dude, Conker did come back this week.
Did he?
Did you not see this?
I don't think so.
Conker got a limited edition statue from some statue company.
Oh, interesting.
Random as hell. And it's like, it's legit. It's legitimately licensed. It looks awesome. It looks like exactly like, it should. It doesn't look cheap or anything. It's like officially licensed Conker statue. And I thought that was so weird because, Conker's a dormant franchise, but I don't know. For me, I would put Spyro up there. Because everyone seems to love Scalebound and Dragon so much. Why not use
You get Spyro, you got Crash, you got Banjo, you got Conker, you got Blinks. There's a lot you could do. Michael says, all those candy bars Jez has listed are all American, none are the British way.
Kit Kats are American?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes, they are.
My life is a lie.
Chaos Might says, Jez, Jeff Grubb, and Nick need to be in a podcast together to see who has more leak informations.
Definitely me.
Definitely Jez. Jez is putting
Definitely
out there.
me.
He got more.
Problem is, a lot of the stuff I could leak would probably get me in a lot of trouble. It's a leak. Who has the most leakable information is probably a better way of putting it.
Yeah. Who has the most leakable information that's not going to get him in trouble? Installation 7 says, do you think they'll start making dynamic backgrounds for third-party games or older Xbox IPs? Would love to see a bunch of rare dynamic backgrounds. I think they'll do more dynamic backgrounds. I would love to, have community-made ones where people can upload theirs, or someone you can start selling dynamic backgrounds for $5 or whatever.
Apparently, Starting Or says Kit Kat is Japanese. And someone said, Mike Shade says Cadbury's is British. Not anymore. Cadbury's was bought by an American company, so Cadbury's is American now. RIP. But anyway, that's candy podcasting, which we're not doing at the moment. What were we talking about? Kit Kat is British, originally made by Roundtrees in York. Okay, there we go. We've got some Candy experts in the chat.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, smash the like button if you're a Candy fan right now. But what were we even talking about? I got sidetracked by Candy. I want a Kit Kat now. I love Kit Kats, man.
I do want a Tic Tac, yeah, or Kit Kat,
Tic-tac.
or a Kit Kat, or Reese's Pieces, or something. You know,
I've never had a Reese's cup. I seen them all the time in memes, but I've never had one. Should I try one? Are they good?
Yeah, our buddy Special Nick says, "Bring back Rock and Roll Racing, or don't even bother completing the acquisition."
I don't even know what that is.
I don't even know what that is too.
How old is Nick? Is Nick like?
I think Nick's older.
Like
Nick's older than me.
Oh damn! That's really old.
Yeah,
that is really, really old. Older than Rand.
Yeah, I believe so. Rock and Roll Racing. I mean, you don't need another racing game. You have Forza Horizon. You have Forza Motorsport. You don't need Rock and Roll Racing.
What about Crash Team Racing? That's what everyone's talking about.
Well, I mean, you may be making a kart racer makes sense, right?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. What else we got here? Paul says, even if Sony could afford a publisher, if they bought one like EA, wouldn't that be a monopoly because of how big PlayStation is? Yeah, I mean, PlayStation's got to be more careful than Xbox because Microsoft was like fifth, and they just announced like record revenue, like over $16 billion for the first time ever. Big success. Like Xbox content and services were up 10%. People are putting estimates out there that they've sold like anywhere between 12 and 13 million consoles, which is more than any Xbox ever. So they're doing really damn well. And if you add in the Activision revenue to what Xbox made, they would have been like 24 million for the year, which would have put them like literally like right behind PlayStation, I think.
That's a lot of money.
But yeah, PlayStation's already number 2. So if you bought EA, that would probably boost them above Tencent. But even still, like, I don't know if that would be a monopoly because there's still a lot of other. That's why, like, I don't understand that when Microsoft purchased Activision and people are like, "This is a monopoly, you gotta stop them." It's like, they're not a monopoly. They're nowhere even close to being a monopoly. Like, the U.S. government let Sony basically get away with owning the entire anime space. You know, they let Disney and Fox merge. So, like, yeah, they're nowhere even close to being a monopoly. But, maybe some senators are like, we need to be hard on this, and maybe they think we'll make our name on busting up Microsoft and stuff. But I can imagine if Sony buying EA would what's EA's market cap right now, Jez? What's their revenue looking like?
EA's market cap?
Yeah.
Let's have a look. What is EA's?
Wasn't like EA like 30 billion or something like that?
EA's market cap. Market cap for EA is 37.31 billion United States Benjamins.
That's a lot. That's a lot
of Benjamins.
How much? What do you call them? What's their stock trading at right now?
Their stock is trading at 131, and it's up 0.5 after hours, and it climbed a lot on the Activision thing, but it's corrected now, and it's back to sort of the level it was before. EA's share price is sort of held steady for the last 5 years at around 131. Sort of, damn, it was down. The lowest it was is like 80 in 2018. Going to stock market history tour right now. But yeah.
The problem with EA is I don't think EA fits into what Sony wants to do. Sony's all about like Sony's all about like exclusive content, and a lot of EA's revenue is from games that need to be multi-platform. Apex Legends, FIFA, Madden, right?
Yeah.
So I don't really think EA fits what Sony's wants to do. I think Square fits a little bit more. I think Capcom fits much better. I think I don't think EA works for any first-party publisher or platform holder. I think EA works for a merger in between another third-party publisher, like Activision merging with EA or EA merging with Ubisoft makes a lot more sense than EA being bought out by Sony.
Yeah.
But that's just my thoughts on it. JC says he needs Red Alert 2 because he missed those games. Marco says, is it time for Xbox to put out a Smash Brothers clone? Crash and Spyro on the cover for a 1-2 punch to Sony. I mean, you got to do something. You own all these properties, all these like massive IPs with really recognizable characters. It's time to either do a Smash Brothers clone or a kart racer or a party game or something. So
I think it'll happen. I think they should use it. I think they should do it with Heroes of the Storm, really. The game's dead. It needs new stuff. Slap Master Chief in it. That'd be cool. I know Heroes of the Storm fans won't be happy about that, but would they rather have a dead game? I don't know.
Yeah, and Meat Puppet says, I would not mind seeing an RCA Pro-Am remastered. I remember that game. So Jez,
all these boomer games you and Nick like, man?
I don't know. Jez, let's talk about your leak, bro. Or not your leak. Let's talk about Jeff Grub's leak, where he talked about, but first, let me get this super chat from, we got two that come in. Metal Morbo says, EA Ubisoft Take-Two merge into a mega dev. And Face says, what game are you playing first, Rand? Shifu, Horizon Forbidden West, Uncharted Legacy, Thieves Collection. Well, I'm currently playing Dying Light 2. And after that, my plan was to play Horizon Zero Dawn. And then Horizon Forbidden West. When does Sifu come out? Because I want to play Sifu quite a bit. Is Sifu at the end of the month? Or is Sifu before Horizon? I'm not sure. But once I finish Dying Light 2, I was going to start Horizon Zero Dawn. I was probably going to play Horizon Zero Dawn and then Forbidden West back to back. Uncharted Legacy Collection. I've played 4 and I've played Uncharted Lost Legacy. I've thought about playing them again because I kind of want to see what Uncharted 4 would play like in 60 frames, but there's a lot of stuff in Uncharted 4 that would not be fun to go through a second time, like, the climbing sections and all that stuff, right? So I don't know. Maybe I'd buy it just to have it, and maybe I play it at some point down the road. So Face says Sifu is February 8th. Maybe I'll play that first then, because that game does look super cool. So Sifu February 8th is, so I'll do Dying Light 2, then Sifu, then the Horizon game. Both Horizons. Oh
my god. New official Silent Hill figurines have just been announced.
Is there a new what about a new Silent Hill game to go along with those figurines?
Nah, we don't do that. We just do figurines for Silent Hill now.
Oh, okay.
Dead, bro.
Andy Hart says, Jez, they're called Benjamins because of Benjamin Franklin, founder of the dollar.
Who's that? I founded the dollar.
Yeah.
All I know is that America betrayed Her Royal Majesty.
Oh, really?
And that's all I need to know about that country.
Wow. No? Well, you guys lost. No? You guys lost pretty much everything. You had the British Empire, and now it's just one single island. You had everything, and you lost it all.
Our time will come.
Yeah.
Our time will come again. Screw you, Brad. Oh, God.
Bunch of losers losing their entire empire.
But what language are you speaking, pal? English.
Not the American. Queen. Yeah, but we perfected it. So
perfected it.
Yeah.
That is. I'm triggered now. Triggered. I'm triggered.
Lyncha says
your language.
EA is a publicly traded company with an obligation to its shareholders. If Microsoft offers more per share than Sony, EA has to consider it, otherwise lawsuit. Yeah. So let's talk about this Monster Hunter game. This Project Suerte. As you literally the other day told me about this game. I'm like, all right, okay, sounds cool. I know you love Monster Hunter, right? You get he's all excited. This is how Jez works. Jez gets super excited. He'll DM me something. He'll be like, OMG, like all uppercase. And I'm like, okay, something's going on. And this time he's like, Microsoft is making a Monster Hunter copycat. And I'm like, okay, I know that's super interesting to you. And I'm like, what is it? And he's like, Certain Affinity's making it, and it's Project Suerte. And then I'm like, that's cool. That's another game Xbox is working on. Great. Makes sense for Game Pass. Monster Hunter was pretty big. If you can't own Capcom and you and getting Monster Hunter Day 1 on Game Pass is too expensive, why not make your own at that point, right? And Jez is like, I'm so excited. And he's like telling me about all these other code names for all these other games and stuff and modes and whatever. And he's all pumped. Like he was super pumped. And then I see him tweet out Buenos Suerte, and I'm like, Jez, you can't help yourself. You can't help yourself.
I was excited, man. I just thought I'll just put that out there. No one will know what I'm talking about. But
and nobody did.
Nobody did, except for Jeff Grubb, I think.
Well, and me, I knew what it was.
Yeah, you knew, and I think Jeff Grubb knew.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Project Suerte, and Jeff provided the details on his Grub Snacks stream, which is a Patreon Giant
It's a
Bomb
premium Giant Bomb show, yeah.
So yeah, that's Jeff Grubb's information. He got there first, which is fair enough. But Project Suerte is made by Certain Affinity, who makes Call of Duty and Halo. They've been working on Halo since the Halo 2 days, Certain Affinity, and the studio is currently led by someone who used to be high up at Bungie or 343, I believe. Maybe both. I can't remember. But Certain Affinity is historically been a support studio. They supported Halo, they supported Call of Duty, they've worked on a bunch of other games here and there, and they worked on Halo Infinite, and they're still working on Halo Infinite, which I'll talk about in a minute. But it does seem that they pitched an IP to Microsoft, and Microsoft was like, yeah, let's do it. And it does seem to be some kind of Monster Hunter-like game. I might have some more details about it in the coming weeks. But yeah, that's another game on the list, the rapidly expanding list amongst Project Belfry and all that other stuff is crazy.
And they're also working on a new mode for Halo Infinite ?
Yeah, so this was the other part. I wrote this in the article at the bottom. Nobody seemed to notice it because nobody reads past the headline. But I believe Certain Affinity is also working on a new mode for Halo Infinite, a new PvP mode, multiplayer. I don't know if it's Battle Royale. It could be Battle Royale. The way it's been described to me is that it's sort of like a mode to attract people who are not into big team battle or arena, basically. Which to me suggests that it could be Battle Royale. But at the same time, I think they've been pretty transparent about not doing Battle Royale. So maybe it's a different mode entirely. Maybe it's like some sort of, I don't know, it could be a horde mode. It could be some sort of PvE thing. I don't know. Maybe it's like, maybe the Endless DLC has like a flood aspect to it, and then they make like a horde mode PvE thing to attach to it. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. But they are working on a new mode for Halo Infinite, which is codenamed Tatanka, like that wrestler. Do you remember that wrestler from the 90s?
Yes, I remember. I remember the wrestler.
Tatanka. So it's a Native American word, I believe. But I don't know. It's codenamed Tatanka, and it's a new mode, so it might be Battle Royale, it might be PvE. I'm not 100% sure, but it's not arena or big team battle. That's all I know, and it is multiplayer. So maybe it's Warzone. People suggest in chat. A new
what
take
is
on Warzone.
what is One Bad Mother of Xbox era, the Halo Whisperer? He knows all things Halo. What does he think it is? Let us know.
I don't know.
Let us know. One Bad Mother.
Right, yeah.
If you think it's a Battle Royale, if you think it's Warzone, if you think it's something else. But they're also working on something else. Their support for another game where they have a crossbow.
Oh yeah, Certain Affinities. They're also, I believe, working on Perfect Dark. I forgot that. I was like, Rand, what are you talking about? I was, oh yeah, they're working on Perfect Dark. So they're making like assets and levels for Perfect Dark. I believe.
Are they working on the multiplayer Perfect Dark as well, or?
I don't know about that. Possibly. They're working on weapons. I've heard about crossbow and some other stuff. So yeah, they're working on Perfect Dark. So Certain Affinity is getting around, right? Blue Moon says Tatanka is a buffalo, so it's a type of buffalo. Maybe that's a hint. Maybe that's a hint. Could it be a hint? I don't know. What do you think, Rand? Is that a hint?
I think these things are hardly ever hints of what it actually is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Although the code name for Flight Simulator is Kitty Hawk, and hawks fly,
That's
don't they?
true. They do try. They do fly. Yes. But that wasn't also the only game that was announced. Well, Jeff leaked this, but there was a brand new game announced that presumably is going to be an Xbox exclusive when it comes out, and you are so excited for this because Blizzard announced a brand new game in a new universe, so not attached to any IP, not attached to Overwatch, not attached to Warcraft, not attached to StarCraft, not attached to Diablo, something brand new. And it just randomly showed up on, what day was it, Wednesday? I think?
Yes.
Just randomly showed up on Wednesday. Hey, we're hiring for a new game in a new universe. It's a survival game. Come work for us. So you're the Blizzard stan here. How are you feeling about this new Blizzard game and everything surrounding the company? I think you wrote an article saying that you haven't been more excited for Blizzard in like forever, right?
Yeah, I wrote an article about it. I had no faith in the future of Blizzard. I wrote an article back in 2016 about Activision's chilling effect on Blizzard. Like, I started seeing it back then. Oh, okay. People in chat are informing me that Kitty Hawk is the name of the first flight from the Wright brothers. I did not know that. Did you know that?
The first powered flight. Not
I
off
had
the top
no
of my
idea.
head, no.
I thought it was just a cute kitty and a hawk. I don't know. Well, there you go, Rand. That's proof that some code names actually do mean something.
Yes, that is true. This one does mean something.
But anyway, yeah, I did not finish high school, so there are very big gaps in some of my knowledge on history. Very, very big gaps. Did you know, Rand? I did not know that Britain previously, that America was a British colony until I was in my late teens.
Really?
And I did not know there was a civil war, and I did not know there was a war for independence until I was in my late teens, or maybe even early 20s. Because yeah, that's what happens when you don't go to school. You don't learn nothing. So or anything. Sorry, using bad grammar there. But anyway, I digress. What were we talking about again?
Talking about Blizzard and their new game.
Blizzard. So yeah, Blizzard and their new game. So I'm a fan of. I really like survival games, and I really like Blizzard games. At least I used to. So I am sort of hopeful that there will be something great that comes out of this. And hopefully Microsoft will invest in growing the team. And to be fair, Activision themselves said they were going to invest in growing the amount of developers at Blizzard to try and bring it back up to where it used to be. And we see this happen often. We see this happen often where publicly traded publishers, they get comfortable, they start cutting corners, and then we end up in this situation where everything goes to shit for a few years. And then like, oh no, okay, we'll fix it. We're seeing EA go through this period right now. EA just announced 3 Star Wars games on the Respawn. They announced that Dragon Age is going single player. They're trying to do popular things that will solve their image. And they do this every few years. They did it in the year where they greenlit Mirror's Edge, they greenlit Dead Space, and it was like, oh, EA is maybe being a bit less shit now. But alas, that's not the case. It's just a cycle. But under Microsoft, they'll be shielded from shareholders. So, like you said earlier, like Bethesda, they won't have to sort of follow industry trends to the same degree. The creativity will flourish, and they'll be shielded under Game Pass and under Microsoft. At least that is what we hope will happen. Will it actually, lead to better things? No one can predict the future. Nobody can predict whether Blizzard can actually get back on top. And, I was certainly of the opinion that Blizzard was doomed before all this. And now I'm optimistic that things can be changed. But we'll have to wait and see, We'll have to wait and see ultimately at the end of the day. But I am excited for the prospect of a Blizzard survival game, because I do like survival games. I know you don't like survival games, do you, Rand?
No. I mean, I guess maybe I haven't found the right one. I also didn't like roguelikes or roguelites or whatever until the right one came along. Like Hades, I love Hades and really liked Returnal, even though maybe people would say it's not a good roguelike. I didn't really care. Maybe some of the ones I played, they weren't very good to me. But then I played the ones that were like the cream of the crop, and it's like, oh yeah, this is really good. So maybe I just haven't really played a survival game that's jived with me, because I just don't like the idea of like, all right, let me go chop down some trees and get some water and get some food, and like, oh, I'm doing stuff now. I gotta eat and drink, and if I don't, I die. Like, that just doesn't appeal to me whatsoever. But you never know. Maybe Blizzard can do it right, essentially, right?
I would hope so.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that. But I know you're super excited because you love Blizzard. And you mentioned on the podcast before that you had heard that there are a bunch of quite a few unannounced games at Blizzard. Was this one of them that you had known about?
No, it wasn't. I was expecting them to announce a different game last week. I did not know about this one, but I did know about another one, which I'm not going to talk about because I don't want to get anyone in trouble. I've been told that Blizzard's roadmap is very strong. That's what I've been told, basically. And it's because they're in this phase of appeasing the crowd. They're in this phase of, oh shit, we've fucked up everything. We've fucked up World of Warcraft. We've screwed up StarCraft. All this stuff is messed up. And they've got new leadership in Mike Ibarra. And I was honestly skeptical of Mike Ibarra being able to actually do anything. I was just thinking, like, Mike's just going to be there to do what Kotick tells him to do and get paid a load of money doing it. But I have heard from people. I've got contacts who work at Blizzard. I played the game for 15 years, man. Like 15 years I played this game, and you just end up knowing people in the community because of playing it for that long, that hardcore, you know. So I got loads of contacts at Blizzard. And there is a sense of optimism, I've been told, that hasn't been there for years, which is another reason why I don't buy these consolidation arguments. The devs are optimistic about it, and if the devs are optimistic about it, that's all that matters to me. I don't care about like journalists or podcasters or YouTubers crying about consolidation when there's no evidence it's a bad thing. If the devs are happy, then that's the main thing to me, and then what the consumers get out of it too. That's the main thing for me. Could it lead to dark days in the distant future? I don't know. But nobody else knows that either. So why take the glass is half empty approach? Right now, there's overwhelming evidence that it's going to be a good thing. So that's why I'm happy with it.
Okay, well that's good. So for me, I'm not super excited for the survival game, but wait and see. Maybe Blizzard will surprise me. Metal Morbo says he wants Blizzard to develop a 4X game, so that's his dream. So
a StarCraft 4X game would be amazing.
Yeah,
that'd be so sick. Or even a Warcraft 4X game. I know Microsoft is very interested in the 4X genre because it plays well on cloud. You know, you don't latency is not an issue if it's a turn-based game, right? So if you look at Project Indus, which is another game that we leaked, I can't remember if it was me or Jeff Grubb. I lose track at this point. But Project Indus is another game that Microsoft's making with Blackbird Interactive, who actually Rand, I believe their work. Yeah, okay, I might as well just say it now.
You're beating around the bush on this one, Jez. So yeah.
I think Blackbird Interactive might be working on 2 projects for Microsoft. They're working on Indus. I think they might be working on another project.
Interesting.
Because Blackbird were involved in Minecraft Earth. I don't know if I've said this before on the podcast that I've heard Mojang is working on two Minecraft spin-offs. I think one of those spin-offs is a Minecraft spin-off being explored by Blackbird Interactive to follow up Minecraft Earth. I don't know if it's a mobile game. I don't know what it is, and I could be wrong. My sourcing on this is a bit spotty, but I do think it is separate from Minecraft Earth, and I think it is another Minecraft-y kind of game. So there's that too. So Blackbird Interactive might end up being an acquisition target as well if these games actually deliver. Because honestly, Minecraft Earth was a cool game. It was a really great concept. The thing that screwed Minecraft Earth up was the terrible monetization. Like you had to pay money to build stuff, which is antithetical to what Minecraft is. Like if I can't just build freely, what the hell is the point of Minecraft? So And I'm pretty sure Blackbird didn't decide that. I'm pretty sure that was a Microsoft thing. So they killed it before it could even launch, really, because of doing stuff like that. But clearly they were happy with Blackbird's work on the game. So they've maybe greenlit them for another Minecrafty kind of project. But maybe it's a mobile game. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, there's just a mountain of stuff. Oh, actually, yeah. Yes, no says, isn't Oxide Games making Indus? Actually, you're right. Is it Oxide making Indus? I lose track.
I mean, I don't know.
Oh God,
I don't have the stuff written down. You do.
Oh God. Yeah, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it wasn't Blackbird making Indus. Maybe it was Oxide making Indus. I lose track. Okay, so it's Oxide making Indus. Oxide Games is making Indus. Yeah, you're right. Sorry about that. I've completely messed that up. But I think Blackbird is working on another project, except beyond Indus, and I think it's Minecraft. And I think they're working on other projects as well. But I could be wrong about that, actually. I'm confused now. Basically, Rand, there's a lot of games being made. So many so that I lose track constantly. I forgot who leaked them. I forgot which studios are working on what. And it's become ridiculous. It's become crazy. Like, how am I supposed to keep track of all this shit? You know, I'm only one guy. Only one journalist. But, alas, here we are.
Yeah. Crisis 4 was also announced. That's another game out of nowhere. They just announced it. Hiring. I really like Crisis. I thought Crisis 2 was incredible. Crisis 3, less so. So I'd be interested in seeing what Crisis 4 is all about. They also had 3 new games announced. Star Wars games announced for Respawn. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2, which is either coming out this year or next year. A shooter, which please let it be Republic Commando. And I think an XCOM style game, and sounds like Respawn is just going to be the Apex Legends / Star Wars factory from now on, right?
Yeah.
And we also got some Halo and Forza numbers finally. Well, we knew some of the Forza stuff. So Microsoft had their financial reports, and Satya Nadella came out and talked a little bit about Halo and Forza. And Forza has 18 million players, which is ridiculous when you think about it. 18 million players in what, like, came out in November, right? So you're talking like 3 months? 18 million players in 3 months, which is, whew. But everybody wanted to know about Halo because Microsoft hasn't shared numbers. So people were like, well, maybe it didn't do very good. But then they came out and said Halo had 20 million players. It's the biggest launch in Halo history. And I'm almost worried to ask you what you think about all this.
Why worried? Why worried, Rand?
I don't know, because you have it in for Halo. Even though, like, we saw you go from this Halo hater to a Halo lover, talking about how much you love the multiplayer and you really like the campaign, to now you're just back on the Halo hate train. And I just feel like you're gonna. You're not going to have nice things to say about Halo right now. So why don't you prove me wrong, Jez? Come on. What do you think about the Halo and Forza numbers?
I think the Forza numbers are good. The Halo numbers are low.
Ooh, you think the Halo numbers are low?
I think they're very low. I think that game should have 150 million players by now.
Shut
up. Because it doesn't, they should just shut it down. They should just kill it.
Really?
It's clearly failed. Give all the money to the Coalition and let's make Gears of War Infinite instead. That's what I think.
Gears of War Infinite.
Nah, I mean, obviously it's very good. But I do think the test of time is the real test. Is this game going to drop off? Is it going to become an institution like Fortnite is? Are they going to keep plowing content into it? Can they keep plowing content into it? Are the fans happy with it? Like, it seems like whenever I look at Twitter, all I see is complaints about the game. Is that accurate, right?
I mean,
people complaining.
Yeah, I mean, people complain. I mean, they haven't fixed Big Team Battle yet.
What's wrong with it?
It hasn't worked for a while.
Really? At all?
Yeah, there's a lot of issues with Big Team Battle. A lot of people get into a game and then get booted from the game. You know, a lot of people complain about cheating. A lot of people complained about lack of maps and content. Like, people are like, hey, I've been playing this game so much, I'm sick of the same maps. I think they only launched with 7. And it needs new content, people would say. So yeah, people are at the point now where it's just like they're over. The honeymoon phase essentially is over. Like, love the gameplay. It's never been better. But now we need to complain about the lack of things because, reality's kind of hit them in the face, right? Cypress Smurf says the only thing they complain about is store and progression related stuff and cheating. So there you go. So I doubt there's going to be any new maps in before season 2, right, in May, and who knows if there will even be new maps. I mean, we know for sure, or at least we think co-op's coming, but that's not going to help the multiplayer.
There'll be new maps.
So hopefully there'll be new maps. They sort of did fix the store stuff. They lowered prices, which I'm not sure how people feel about that because I haven't really seen. I wonder if they're, the progression stuff. But yeah, so now you're in the mode of like people just kind of complaining because there's nothing else to really talk about. But, it's a night and day difference between that and like Battlefield, right? Like Battlefield, like nobody plays it. Like Battlefield, like 3,000 people are playing it on PC and it's already out of the top 50 on Xbox. Yeah. Like that game just cratered.
Yeah, it did.
And maybe it's because in this day and age, maybe if you're a multiplayer game, you have to be free to play. You can't charge $60 anymore. Not when every other shooter out there has a free to play component, right?
Why are people like mad at Game Pass, but nobody talks about that? Nobody talks about the chilling effect that Fortnite has had over premium shooters. Everything's got to be Battle Pass free to play now, and that's because of Fortnite. But nobody really talks about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean you're right. Nobody really does talk about that. But hey, people like to complain. Hopefully they get new maps soon. And, yeah, One Dead Mother says it needs new maps and casual content. I'm hearing from even Halo fans it's always 100 miles per hour sweaty and they want more casual stuff. So, yeah, it's like you get into a match and everybody's like being all sweaty, so.
Sweaty?
Yeah, sweaty. Trying really hard. Tryhards, essentially. Like it's just a battle back and forth. But I mean, you knew this was going to happen. It wasn't going to remain high player counts forever. It was going to spike at the beginning and then it'll level out and then it'll get new content and people will come back. And that's why I think they'll do a Battle Royale mode at some point because this is a 10-year game, right? Like you can't just have these maps and these modes forever. Like you're going to have to start introducing new things. And BR would definitely inject a lot of life into the game, especially on the PC side. So I think at some point you'll get it. But here's what I'm gonna say.
Ooh, Ron's gonna say something.
I think this says more about Forza than it does Halo, because they both released around a similar time. I think Forza released a week ahead of Halo because Halo launched in beta form, and I'm assuming they're counting the numbers from them, and I'm assuming the numbers are. See, I'm not sure. I don't know. Someone maybe can tell me, are these numbers from November to December for the quarter, or do they also include numbers up until a certain point in January? I'm not really sure on that. But either way, the fact that they launched really close to another, it's like Halo's free to play, it has 20 million, which is the most ever, which is great. We knew it would have the most ever because you essentially gave the multiplayer away for free. But Forza's not free. Forza is you either got to pay for it or you subscribe to Game Pass to play it. And it has basically the same amount of users as Halo. So I think it says way, way more about Forza and how successful and popular that game has become in the time between Halo 5 and this launch. Think about it. Like, Forza Horizon was just it was started as like kind of an afterthought because Forza Motorsport was the racing franchise. Then they spun off and did Forza Horizon, and it did okay. And it wasn't. And then 3, I think I remember hearing that Forza Horizon 3 and Gears 4 launched at the same time, and I remember hearing that Forza Horizon 3's popularity just completely took Microsoft by surprise.
I remember hearing
they
that.
Barely marketed it. Everything was pushed towards Gears, and Forza Horizon 3 just blew past Gears. And Forza Horizon 4 was one of the first quality first-party games to be put in Game Pass day one because it launched in 2018. And I think Sea of Thieves was the first game. But, Sea of Thieves reviews at the time weren't very good. So I think in the time between Halo 5 and this, Forza Horizon has become essentially as big as Halo, which is crazy to think about it.
It is, yeah. It is crazy.
So I don't know. Like I don't think the numbers for Halo are bad. I didn't expect them to pull numbers like Warzone or Apex Legends. I think both of them did 50 million in a month. I think not having a battle royale does hold it back some because that is the dominant multiplayer mode of the day. That's what people want to play. Clearly, like look at Fortnite, look at Apex Legends, look at Warzone. It's battle royale, and that is what is popular. And Halo doesn't have one, so I do think they were kneecapped by that a little bit.
Why is it so popular?
That's a good question. That's a good question. It just,
but you should know because you played PUBG
because it was so unique and it was so much fun and it was just something just completely different from the normal team deathmatch or team objective. It was just you get like anything could happen at any point in time, and it was just like it was so freaking fun, dude.
I can't get into it. I just can't. I've tried like multiple times. Like Apex was the one that almost got me because it was like Titanfall-ish, and I could sort of apply some of my Titanfall knowledge to it. But even that, I was just like, I just find myself bored. It takes so long to find someone to kill sometimes. And I don't like just running across endless map for ages trying to survive. I want to find people to kill. I'm the kind of guy who like ends every match with like 40 kills and like 40 deaths because I play so reckless. That's why I like Battlefield so much, because you can just sort of plant down with an LMG and mow people down or blow them up with C4. And there's like constant killing. I don't know if it's because I grew up on Unreal Tournament, which is like, the ultimate murder simulator, but I don't know. I feel like PUBG forced me to think.
There's just something about Battle Royale where you drop in, you don't have anything, you loot up, right? And you're always like looking to get better gear, so you have that gameplay loop. You get into a battle and it's very intense because it's life or death. You die, you're done. When you take their stuff and you get more gear, like the loop is just so fun where it's almost like an RPG. Like each game is like a little mini RPG in that sense, where you drop somewhere, you get some loot, you kill some people, you get even better, you move on. The unpredictability of it, it really, I don't know. But my point is that I didn't expect Halo to reach those heights because it doesn't have the most popular game mode of right now. And some people might be like, well, it doesn't need it. And I'm be like, I think it does in the long run. Like, Halo is a franchise that has a lot of cachet and people love it. But when the dominant game mode of the time is not there, you won't bring people from Fortnite or Warzone or Apex over. You need the BR to do that, which is why I think they'll have one. So I think 20 million is good, but I think 18 million for Forza is incredible. Personally, the explosion of popularity of Forza Horizon is really astounding to watch. To see where it was and how it started to what it is, where the point where like this franchise it spun off from doesn't even touch it anymore. Like Motorsport doesn't even come close to Horizon.
What does Motorsport need to do? What does it need to do?
I think I think that it's the sim racing aspect of it just doesn't appeal to as large of an audience as that chill arcade racer where you get together with your friends, you're just doing racing, you're exploring a world, this big open world, where like Motorsport's like, all right, you need to race this track 10 times to get the perfect lap, and you need to like add air to your tires and change the gears in your drivetrain to get the most horsepower as possible. Like Motorsport is aimed at that type of racer where like
Well,
Forza's
isn't it okay for motorsport to have a smaller audience? Like, isn't it okay that there's a game that's super sim dedicated? Like,
sure, it's
I think
okay.
I think they should double down on the sim stuff.
Sure, it's
Like,
okay. It's good to have, one racing franchise doing one thing and one doing the other, right? You got
yeah.
motorsport for the hardcore dudes, you got Horizon for the casual dudes. It's just I don't know, like I saw 18 million, I was like that's incredible. That's in 3 months. Like the Forza Horizon 6 not coming out for probably another 3 years. What?
Mm.
How many people have played it by then? 30 million people. 30 million people playing racing games, and people forget racing games used to be incredibly popular. Like Need for Speed at one point was one of the best-selling games every year until
I feel
mean,
like
people
racing
fell off
games
of it.
don't get I feel like they don't get the respect they deserve these days. Like, we talked about Forza being snubbed for a nomination for Game of the Year, which I think is weird. But I don't know. I guess we'll. Yeah, people are saying VR motorsport would be good. I do think like one thing they should look at for motorsport is more licensed accessories, because one thing people often complain to me about is that a lot of the high end simulation gear for Forza isn't compatible with Xbox. It's all PC only. So I think like if you do want to have that sim racer audience, like because there is like people who they spend a lot of money building these like dedicated rigs, maybe explore if you like double down on that stuff. Make like Xbox first party simulation gear. Do it for Flight Simulator as well, you know. If you're gonna cater to every niche, go, I was gonna say balls deep, but that's a pretty graphic way of getting my point across there.
If you need to go balls deep,
Yeah,
make sure you use promo code XP2 to kind of help with that a little bit at manscaped.com.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my god. Yeah. Balls deep.
Yeah. So, what else we got here? Ubisoft, Jez. You wanted to basically go at Ubisoft because of their NFT stuff. So the floor is yours.
Oh my god, it's funny. It's funny. Like, so this news story is it's Ubisoft once again trying to push NFTs, non-fungible tokens, which are like digital assets that you don't actually own. You just own a link to the digital asset. So as soon as the server shuts down, boom, your asset's gone. So you didn't actually own a damn thing. So it's a pretty epic ground for a lawsuit in the future. But I just thought it was really condescending of Ubisoft in an interview. Ubisoft were asked like, "What are you still going with NFTs?" And Ubisoft were like, "Yeah, this is for the gamers. NFTs are for the gamers, but they don't get it yet." And I just thought that is so condescending. That is so condescending. Because they could implement this stuff if it was for the gamers, it'd be free. They could add this content for free. If it was for the gamers, they could add this content for a fixed price rather than inflating the price. You know, I think they are. There's someone at Ubisoft who's pushing this stuff to people who truly don't understand it. I think there are execs at Ubisoft who just don't get NFTs. And they're being told by some of the younger execs who are probably crypto bros that this is the next best thing. This is going to be the next best thing in gaming, and you guys need to be on this as soon as possible. And people like, I don't know what his name is. Is it Yves, the CEO? Yeah. People like the CEO, they don't actually get NFTs at all, and they're just listening to some dudes who are like, yeah, NFTs are great, and he's like, oh, okay, well, I believe you, because Ubisoft. It feels like Ubisoft's trolling themselves lately. I just think Ubisoft is just trash. I think, who was it? Was it Yahtzee? You remember Yahtzee, who does zero punctuation?
Yes.
On The Escapist.
Uh-huh.
Yahtzee put out a video a few weeks ago, or last week maybe even. I have no concept of the linear time anymore. But Yahtzee put out a video the other day which really spoke to me, and it was like, a bland game is worse than a bad game. And that really resonated with me, especially because of Ubisoft, because I'm going to apply that at a higher level. A bland company is even worse than a bad company. And Ubisoft, like everything they do is uninspired, bland, corporate, just terrible. And this whole NFT thing really accentuates that. It really, really rams that point home that Ubisoft is just another corporate factory making games. And it's a shame because the studio is full of amazing, talented devs. Not so much writers, maybe, but a lot of great artists, a lot of great combat designers, and a lot of amazing devs. And it's just kind of painful watching Ubisoft corporate themselves out of any sort of relevance. But I don't know, their games still sell a lot, so maybe I'm wrong. You know, Assassin's Creed Valhalla was the biggest in the franchise history, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people still bought Far Cry 6, even though I think it's the most boring game I've played in the last 2 or 3 years. So I'm just sort of watching them unfold, and I just hope that Ubisoft doesn't get to dictate what the future of this industry looks like. This is one point where it's kind of like, I'm glad Microsoft is consolidating, because Microsoft is skeptical of NFTs. They think it's bullshit, because it is bullshit. You don't own anything at all with an NFT. You own a link. You own a link to some server that could shut down, and then you don't have anything. But you've spent your money or whatever. The only value of an NFT is to the company who's making a cut on the transaction, or the person who flips the NFT. So like it could make some people money. Like some artists are making a lot of money from NFTs, exploiting people who have some kind of belief in it, or they have more money than sense. Like if Logan Paul, one of these YouTubers, pays like $15 million for some dumb JPEG of some like chimpanzee with a hat on, then great. Exploiting rich people, I'm all about that. That is great. But everything else is just dumb. And I think Ubisoft is on the very deep end of dumb right now. They are balls deep in dumb. That's Ubisoft.
They're balls deep in dumb.
Balls deep.
Yeah, it's definitely, the whole NFT thing is going to be interesting, because they're like, you guys just don't understand it. We're doing it for you. And then YouTube is like talking about NFTs and getting into that, right?
And you got on Twitter now, if you see a hexagon profile picture, it's linked to someone's wallet account.
Yep.
I'm just waiting for the first time that gets hacked and someone's wallet gets drained because they've given Twitter API level access or something. And someone decrypts the keys.
And I've started getting emails from NFT companies or people saying that they want to promote crypto or NFTs in my videos, and I'm just like, no. So it's starting. You'll probably start seeing a lot of videos by content creators talking about NFTs. YouTube themselves is talking about getting in NFTs and things. Like, I don't know how this is all going to play out, but it's definitely going to play out some way, somehow. And some people are going to take the money and run, because, that's just what it is. And it's just...
Loads of people already have. I've followed a Twitter account recently which sort of tracks crypto scams, pump and dump schemes, and, rug pulls and that kind of thing. And it's a lot of money is just vanishing into thin air because of stuff like this. But the American government is looking to regulate crypto transactions in the view of it being for national security. It sucks because, I'm not against crypto as a concept. Like, the original white paper, if you go and read them, crypto was supposed to, liberate us from the banking system, decentralized personal ownership of your financial destiny. But it's just not playing out like that in practice, unfortunately. It's like, there's mountains of scams left, right, and center. You rely on crypto exchanges to turn the money into fiat currency. And crypto exchanges are centralized by their very nature, This stuff just doesn't work, and it's not working. And a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. I don't care about rich people losing money, but regular people getting scammed because like some YouTuber or some influencer told them to invest in some stuff, I don't know. I think it sucks, but oh well. Sean Labrie has got a crypto NFT collection, and you should go and buy his.
Yeah.
That's not an ad. but help Sean LeBrie out because Sean's awesome. So that's when I do agree with NFTs. When independent artists are making money, that's great. That is great, and I'm awesome, and I'm all for that. But when Ubisoft is adding a price tag to something that should be $2, that's bullshit. Ubisoft can go to hell. So, independent artists to NFTs, great. Big corporations, that's centralized, and that's against what crypto is meant to be. So,
yeah. No,
whatever.
I agree with you. And Dirty Flint says Sega sold their arcade business. We up for sale? Well, maybe. And who knows what the future holds? You know, I mean, 2 huge publishers acquired by Microsoft. I imagine Sony's going to get on the action. We're in uncharted territories now. But I want to thank you guys for being here. Love doing the podcast with Jez. Love having you guys in the chat. Whether you're constantly talking or lurking, supporting the show with super chats, we appreciate all of you. And this will be up on iTunes and Spotify ASAP. We're going to be doing a special podcast strictly for podcast apps only, where we answer some questions we have that people sent in from Spotify. So if you want to ask a question, we'll definitely be answering that soon, because we've come to the end of the show. We're almost at 3 hours. And yeah, so hit the like button if you enjoyed the show. Subscribe if you're new. And we'll take some questions before we get out of here. So, Jez, we have our first question from Thanaros, who says, what are your thoughts on the metaverse? Will it bleed into gaming? I don't even know what the metaverse really is, to be honest with you.
I actually love this topic, and I'll tell you why. A lot of people think of the metaverse as VR, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, you put a headset on, you're in a VR, you're in a virtual shopping center, you like buy things with crypto or whatever. Web 3, right? Web 3, they call it. Web 3.0. We're on Web 2.0 now, and this is all Web 3.0 stuff. But it's all speculative and theoretical. Now, if you'll notice, when Microsoft talks about metaverse, they never mention VR, which really makes me laugh. And you know why that is? It's because Microsoft is trying to reframe the narrative on what the metaverse is. To Microsoft, the metaverse is the diaspora of devices that we use to access the internet. The metaverse has nothing to do with VR in Microsoft's view. In Microsoft's view, any virtual world, whether it's Minecraft, Grand Theft Auto Online, or Fortnite, that is what the metaverse is to Microsoft. But to us, these are just games. So this is just the typical tech hype, Silicon Valley, self-congratulating bullshit that we often get from people like Mark Zuckerberg, who are trying to rebrand and repackage things that already exist. Because they want to rebrand and repackage the internet, because right now, Facebook realizes it doesn't control shit. Apple can crater Facebook's earnings in a second just by changing its rules on ads. And they did it. They did it literally this year or last year. Apple changed its rules on privacy, and that really hit Facebook's bottom line. So what Facebook wants is to rebrand the internet as something you access through one of their devices, like a VR headset. The problem is, Rand, nobody wants to wear a thing on their face to do basic things like chat to people. If you saw like one of Facebook's really cringe ads for Metaverse recently, it just sort of tells you everything you need to know. Like, I posted it on my timeline. It's probably hard to find at this point because I do tweet a lot. But Microsoft sees the metaverse as just a creator economy, open world game that you can spend a lot of time in, like Minecraft. These things already exist, you know? So for Microsoft, the VR is only like a tiny part of this. But for Mark Zuckerberg, who's trying to push this narrative that metaverse is a VR thing, it's not a VR thing. It's never going to be a VR thing. Someone needs to really sit there and tell Mark Zuckerberg nobody's going to put a thing on their face just to buy something for, just to buy some toilet paper. No one's going to put a headset on to buy toilet paper. I don't even like wearing my glasses, Rand. I don't even like wearing my glasses. Think I'm going to put a computer on my face? It ain't happening. But it's whatever, right? It's whatever. I don't think this metaverse stuff's going to go anywhere.
You are definitely passionate about NFTs and metaverse stuff.
What I'm passionate about is bullshit, I'm passionate about stopping the bullshit, and Facebook and NFTs and all this stuff. It's all bullshit. So, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get it.
VR will be supplementary. And VR games are like something you do on the side. They're never going to be the sort of the main way we game. That's always going to be mobile phones because it's easier. You know, I'm not going to put a headset on to play Candy Crush.
Yeah.
What are they talking about? They're high. I don't know.
Doovie says, will we get a sequel for Recore or Rise? Well, with Crisis 4 being on that GeoForce NVIDIA leak, you know, was Rise part of that leak?
I don't think so.
But there were rumors that they might be doing a Rise. I think, if I had to guess, I think we'd get a Rise before we get a Recore 2. But I think Rise 2 would be multi-platform.
I don't think we'll get either.
But yeah, there's probably a chance we get neither. Raymaster says, what do you guys think of Playground Games making a Jack X clone? Jack X clone? Is that the Jack and Daxter one that was kind of like a racing game? If I think correctly. I think Playground Games would be focused on Forza Horizon and Fable for the foreseeable future. Jez, what would you like to see? This is from Ryan. With the Call of Duty franchise, once the acquisition is complete, I think they should ditch the modern or World War I, World War II setting and take on different time periods like Assassin's Creed. See, I don't really think Jez cares about Call of Duty so very much.
Dude, like after Battlefield's complete mess, I'm scared that we're never going to see DICE at its peak again. The thing about Call of Duty is I go on and off Call of Duty because it feels so saturated to me. I have to take a few years away from it before I get back into it. I played my favorite was World at War. I really like the World War II Call of Duties. But I was expecting to like this one, but it's not World War II. It's some sort of made up futuristic World War II, but it's not at the same time. It's like it's time travel bullshit. I don't know. It just doesn't work. It's just a bad game. It's not good. And then, Rand, every time I play Call of Duty, I'm reminded that it doesn't have dedicated servers, and it's laggy and it's horrible. And it's like, man, fine. I'll just go back and play Overwatch. So one of the things that I am optimistic for with Call of Duty is dedicated bloody servers. Do we get dedicated servers finally with Call of Duty? Or is the whole business model of Call of Duty that it cuts corners, you know? I want to hope that Microsoft will put Call of Duty on proper dedicated servers as part of the marketing for Azure and stuff. But I'm hopeful that Call of Duty will, you know, get really good again when they can move to a 2-year dev cycle and you know, double down on quality and uniqueness and actually bake some of these ideas. Rand, I honestly think like some of the ideas they come up with for Call of Duty, they just sort of they come about in as a result of a 10-minute meeting because they're like they have to go through it so quickly. I don't know. But how do you feel about Call of Duty? Have you ever been that into it? I don't really know your thoughts on Call of Duty.
I'm into the single player. I play all the single players. So I'm just
total opposite to me.
I know. If I get a better single player out of it, I'm all good. Like that's all I care about when it comes to Call of Duty. So I would prefer it to be modern. Hell, like I loved Infinite Warfare. Go back to the future, do stuff like that. Like I'm kind of also sick of the World War I, World War II stuff. So be modern or be future.
World War I game.
What?
I've never done a World War I game.
I'm saying like between Battlefield and them, right? I think.
What if they did like a war that's never been really done before, like the Revolutionary War or something?
Nah, I'm kind of just over old war stuff. So
you don't want to ride a horse?
No, I don't.
I thought you liked Red Dead Redemption.
I do like Red Dead Redemption, but
I thought you liked Bobby's Horse Adventures.
I mean, it's one of the greatest games ever. Space Dovikin says, is Jason Ronald going to turn the backwards compatibility machine on again for Activision backlog? It's an interesting question. We didn't really touch much on with them acquiring Activision. Now they own a bunch of stuff, but they said the back compat stuff is kind of finished, right?
I think for sure it comes back.
You think for sure it comes back?
Sure. I would bet money that once they get Activision Blizzard, the back compat machine will wind back into action. I think we'll see like MS-DOS games hitting Xbox. I think we'll see like Blackthorn. Actually, did they already port Blackthorn? They did port Blackthorn already, I think, in that Blizzard Classic collection. But I think we'll start seeing like really classic games get ported because Microsoft's all about preservation. They love it. And sometimes they do things for the love of it, not just the money. Because as we all know, backwards compatibility hasn't really made a ton of money. They did it for the love of it. They do things like they brought Linux to Windows for the love of it, and they just do weird shit. So I think that will bring some of these games back. I'm sure they're sitting there in an office right now thinking about the possibilities. Like, how are we going to port this like Commodore 64 game to Xbox? I'm sure they're sitting there thinking about that right now.
Yeah. Rebellious says Xbox needs a third-person Arthurus turning evil game. But yeah, I think they might do some back and pet stuff. Eternal Umbra says, if you guys had the power and money to choose, which would be the more valuable acquisition for Xbox Game Studios in your opinion? Sega, Capcom, or Square? So this isn't our personal opinion. This is what would be the more valuable acquisition for Xbox, Jez, out of those three.
That's a good question. It is a good question.
I'm gonna say,
because I usually go first.
If I'm Microsoft and I'm like, okay, I can get Sega, I can get Capcom, or I can get Square. What would fit the needs that I have? I would say, I think I would rule out Square in that regard. I think it would come down to Sega or Capcom. Now, what does Sega give you? Okay, they give you some casual stuff. You get another mascot in Sonic. You get Japanese push with Atlas, right? You get Persona. You get Yakuza, big games. You get some PC developers to help with your push. But what does Capcom give you? Capcom gives you a lot of core franchises. Capcom gives you a fighting game in Street Fighter. You get Resident Evil. You get Monster Hunter. Also big games in Japan. You would own Dino Crisis. You'd have Devil May Cry. See, this is a tough one because everything, if I'm thinking for Xbox, I'm thinking it's probably Sega.
What? No.
Well, it's probably Sega because of the PC stuff. But maybe that stuff doesn't really matter anymore because they have Blizzard, right?
Yeah.
Like, because if you had Relic and Creative Assembly, you can, you do stuff with the PC, which would be more beneficial. But now you have Blizzard, so maybe that they don't really need that. But I'm gonna say now, after the Activision Blizzard, if this was before Activision Blizzard, I would have said Sega. But after Activision Blizzard, I think it's Capcom.
Yeah, I would have said the same. I think like Sega, they would have needed Sega for Sonic, but now I think Sonic's still bigger than Crash, Banjo, and Spyro. But I think with all three of those, they don't need Sonic anymore. They can build up Spyro and Crash to be as big as Sonic. And Sonic, let's face it, hasn't had a good game in a million years. And 3D Sonic games are almost always trash. The only thing that Sonic has is nostalgia and the memory of good games. And a actually surprisingly good movie. I actually really liked the Sonic movie. I thought it was really good. But I'm like a huge Jim Carrey stan, so I pretty much like everything he does. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I digress. I think yeah, I might have swayed towards Sega before Blizzard, because you do get your Relic for Age of Empires, and you do get like a lot of these strategy games and these PC games, and Football Manager, which is really, really huge. But man, they've got all this stuff now. They've already done the deal with Sega, and the deal is we work together and we pay you money and we work together. I don't think they need to buy Sega. I think Sega's definitely looking for a buyer, and I think if I was a betting man, I would bet Sega's the next one to fall to be acquired. But I think it might end up going to Tencent now, because I don't think Microsoft's probably not going to buy Sega in the interim. I'm sure Sega probably wanted to choose Microsoft, but the way things have gone, it's going to end up not being the case. So now I'm going to say Capcom. You have to appreciate how much of a huge franchise Monster Hunter is in Japan. It's kind of like Dragon Quest. Like Dragon Quest is not that big in the West. It's big, but it's not that big. Monster Hunter is pretty big. It's gotten pretty big in the West. But Monster Hunter is like an institution in Japan. It's huge. It's like almost as big as Pokemon. It's absolutely massive. Like you see like Rathalos popping up in random TV shows and stuff in Japan. Like that's how big Monster Hunter is. So I think Capcom gives them such a huge inroads in Japan. Even in a way, even Sega doesn't. And also you got Resident Evil, which is also obviously huge in Japan, and Resident Evil is also huge in the West now. Even though it shut the bed for a couple of years with 5 and 6, but Sub Zedox is out here saying it doesn't fill the void with JRPG, but that's a lie. That's a lie, brother. You know why? Because they got Breath of Fire. Capcom has Breath of Fire, the most amazing JRPG franchise of all time that is pretty much dead now, which makes me sad. Breath of Fire was sick, and they could revive that if they wanted a JRPG. If Microsoft really wanted, they'd be like, let's use Breath of Fire and make a real JRPG. But they've also got Dragon's Dogma, which could be their Souls-like if they brought it back. And also, dude, what the hell is going on with that Pragmata game?
Yeah.
You know Capcom announced Pragmata and it just disappeared?
Well, I think it got delayed into 2023. But don't forget, you got Street Fighter, so you got your fighting game. And if you do a Killer Instinct, maybe you cornered the fighting game market, right? Kind of like how PlayStation did in 2014. So I don't know. I sort of feel like Capcom is would offer more this time. But if it was before Activision Blizzard, I would definitely say Sega.
We both agree that screw Square Enix, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Square is you get them now. It's like a lot of their games are tied up with PlayStation for a bit, and you can sort of get the best of Square Enix without buying them. Like if you get Crystal Dynamics and Eidos from them. But yeah, F-Boy says, big fan of the show, Jez and Rand. I believe within 20 years, Microsoft pushes Sony out of gaming. Companies don't last forever. Sega and Atari consoles, question mark. We'll have to wait and see. Nintendo's always going to be around, right? So.
Yeah, Nintendo has like $50 billion in cash in the bank, I think.
Yeah.
I read that somewhere.
Nintendo,
I think I read somewhere that Nintendo could run like at a deficit for like 50 years or something. Because Nintendo's been around for like 100 years. Because it used to be originally like a board game and card company, didn't it, or something?
Yeah.
And they did like trading cards, like baseball cards, I think. Nintendo's like got old money. Nintendo's going nowhere, but
yeah,
I don't know. Sony has a lot of overhead, a lot of debt, and they're in a lot of risky businesses. They're in the movie business, they're in the music business. Did you see that Sony acquired a musician, the musician's catalog?
Yeah,
recently?
Neil Young, I think, right?
Yeah, Sony acquired Neil Young's
That was
catalog.
Sony's response to Xbox acquiring Activision Blizzard. They bought Neil Young's music.
Oh man, what does Neil Young even make? I don't even know. You should know this. You're a boomer.
It's been a long time since I listened to anything Neil Young, unfortunately. So,
man.
Eternal Umbra says, "You guys are the best. Stay great. Thank you." What else we got here? Sub-Zedix says, "Just buy both of them. He just wants it all. He wants it all."
But what about market consolidation, man? What about market consolidation?
Doovie says, "Why does EA refuse to add Medal of Honor? They scared people will like it more than Battlefield. They have Airborne, but Medal of Honor 2010 was the best." Well, after Medal of Honor, was it 2010 or was it 2012? One of the Medal of Honors like tanked, and ever since then it was just like, "Yep, we're done." Because they brought it back, and I thought like they brought it back, and it was the first one was good. And then they did the sequel, and like nobody bought it, and it wasn't very good, and so yeah. But yeah, I think that's it for the show, guys. Over 3 hours. Hope you all enjoyed it.
Hell yeah, I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it, Rand?
It's a good time. It's always a good time podcasting with Jez. 3 hours just blows on by, So.
Bye.
We appreciate everyone being here. Love doing the show on Fridays. We'll be doing the show tomorrow with Nick and John for Xbox 4. So if you'll see us there tomorrow, probably talking about some of this same stuff. Brett in the Super Chat says, Bandai Namco for the win. Soul Calibur, Tekken, Tales of, Scarlet Nexus, Dark Souls, Dragon Ball, and Gundam. Gundams everywhere in Japan.
Yeah, man.
Do they own Dark Souls? They publish Dark Souls, don't they? But I don't think they own Dark Souls.
Yeah, I think they just publish. Bandai offer very, very, good publishing deals where they don't like try and take ownership of IP. Bandai publish Cyberpunk and Witcher in Europe, and I think Warner Brothers published them in America, right?
I'm trying to think. Would if you were to own Dark Souls but not have the game made by From Software, would people like want to even play it? If it was like
No.
Dark Souls 4 but by some different studio that's not
No. It needs Miyazaki.
Yeah, it needs them.
Like people don't even like Dark Souls 2 because it wasn't made by the core team.
That is true.
Even Dark Souls 2 is a bit weird. Apparently, I haven't played it myself yet,
but yeah. So we'll be back next week, hopefully with a lot more to talk about, more interesting things. Jez has a lot more leaks that he hasn't even talked about. Trust me, a lot more stuff, right, Jez? You got a lot more stuff.
Yeah, sure, man. Why not?
Yeah, sure, man. Why not? But until then, keep it gaming, guys.